This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain shocking revelations, violence, and sexual themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Vaesen role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is Storsvagåret, the Year of Great Weakness. It was written by Matthew Sanderson, who is also our game master, and this is episode 3. Our recap will be given by Max Meltzer as his character, Franz Almkind, the officer. So without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Max?
When we left the train, we were immediately greeted with a large crater. After some investigation and with the help of the hound, we were able to find a scent leading away from the crater. After about an hour of walking, we came across an absolutely miserable shack occupied by a haggard young woman who welcomed us in. The vagabond did some poking around while we were talking to her and found that in the back room a mad bomber was fiddling with significant quantities of dynamite and carriage clocks. They also found a bloody wagon wheel, which we found out had crushed the head of the farmer's former husband. Say that 3 times. We quickly made our escape and rushed back to camp. Some of us wish to keep the bombing a secret, but I know better than that. These saboteurs need to be brought to justice.
Indeed. Right. So, as we'd left it, we had Oscar and Helena were in the tent with Clarita Bernston, the lady who'd invited you here, the forewoman. Valentina was off meditating, or say using your memento to wipe out a couple of conditions. Victor had gone to the mess tent, and I'm not sure whereabouts Franz was.
I think I was going to the tent as well, where
Okay, so
to join the woman.
Right, so you'll be coming in with Oscar and Helena then. Okay. So yeah, Clarita has just taken a swig from this bottle and is saying, well, everyone around here is dreading nightfall, and your plan is to wait for it to come along a lot sooner. So yeah, you're going to go down like a lead balloon here. So, you say you want to grab everyone together for a kind of powwow to have everyone get everyone on the same page? Who do I need to round up? Who do you want to speak to?
I was specifically thinking that the entire group from the society would have a meeting with you and whoever you want to be informed, maybe after the meal, just because we're scattered now, and I think everybody should have a voice in it.
Sure. And at that point, Franz comes in. So, oh, well, good, well timed, it seems.
Good evening. And I will just look to everybody else to make sure we're still on the same page of telling her about the bomber.
I'm not going to stop you. I was just telling is it four lady?
Yes, four lady, foreman, whichever. Yeah.
That Valentina had some success in releasing one of the workers who was missing from his torment.
Yes. Indeed. And as to your other problem with the explosions, we think we might have found the culprit.
Oh, her eyes light up and a kind of sudden realization as she gulps a bit more down from the bottle. You know what's happening there? Please tell me what is this?
Well, we believe some coffee house intellectual types, political people, have been planting significant quantities of dynamite on the tracks. and we've tracked them down to a farmhouse not too far from here.
Oh, you know where they are?
We know
Yes,
where the
we
workshop is, at least. We don't know the identity of the bomber or bombers as yet. Um, but do you have sufficient force among your guards, do you think, to take a captive if we...
What, a single person? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't see. I mean, if you're talking about someone who's got a load of explosives and is kind of a radical, I would rather we send in a significant amount more people than would normally be needed for dealing with one person. I mean, I can give you 10 of the guards to go and apprehend this person. Yeah.
The
And that,
Go ahead.
oh, I was going to mention that we're not entirely sure if this person is acting alone or if they have co-conspirators. Um, we know of at least two others, but we're not entirely sure of the relationship with the bomber. But we do know that there are three people currently in one house, uh, the bomber and two others, and it's the other two that we're not sure of the relationship.
Oh, okay, okay. So potentially we're looking at three, but one for definite, maybe three.
indeed, and we know that the farmhouse belongs to a young woman who we believe was giving your workers a significant amount of treats and food.
She's a little bit surprised for a second, and then you can almost again hear the cogs turning. But Miss Alstrom.
The
That's
very
what
same.
that's why we're somewhat confused about whether she's aware of what's going on under her roof, because her motivations seem at best inconsistent.
Yeah, I mean, she's always been quite friendly to us here. She's been obviously coming up most every other day with putting together scraps of what she can. So yeah, that seems somewhat counterproductive if that's the case.
So we
But
may
yeah,
consider, when she said she was going to follow us to camp, we brought a hamper of food from her farmhouse. So if she comes, then we could perhaps detain and question Ms. Armstrong and see if she knows what's going on or whether she's further a victim. I don't know
yeah.
how the bomber would have gotten the necessary equipment into the house without her knowledge.
No, that does seem a little, again, not counterintuitive, but does seem a little incongruous. There must be some degree of knowledge. I mean, if I had some crazy person making bombs in my back room, then I would know about it. At least I'd like to think so. My house isn't that big.
Yes.
Hmm.
So unless Franz or Helena, you have something else, we can gather we have two more members of the society with us that we can discuss this further, and perhaps, Ms. Alstrom will be here then.
Sure. Yeah, I'll send someone to go and pick them up. And she kind of leans her head out of the tent and calls to a gentleman outside, Bjarn Lundrin. That's it, or Lundin. And
Um, I want to, if I can, lean toward Oscar and kind of whisper in your ear. Um, if we detain this lady, is it possible that the third person might sneak back to the house and alert the bomb maker?
Good point. Yeah. Um, so I guess we'd have to hold them both.
Yeah, just
Right.
to be sure, that way, because we wouldn't want the bomb maker to be alerted that we're coming. That would make a far more dangerous situation.
Right. Although if Marie and the journalist don't return at a reasonable hour, she'll become suspicious anyway. So it seems as though things are moving toward a head.
Yeah.
I don't see any way to avoid it.
Right. So as Bjarn, the head security guard, starts going around to wrap up the not wrap up, but to gather up everyone else. We'll find Valentina fairly quickly, so we'll get you back to the tent with everyone else. And Father, you were heading off to the mess tent to help out with various bits. One of the guys there that you notice is still a little bit wincing as he moves. He hasn't got much by way of bandages or a sling around, but you can tell he's definitely still nursing the last bits of injury on his shoulder, which would be Ingvar that you were notified of, the guy who had the spike
Yes.
that went through his shoulder.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, as I am trying to keep everybody in good spirits and fix some of the food, I will say, you're the young gentleman that was injured by the explosion, was it?
Oh
Ingvar.
yes.
Is,
Yeah, he looks a little bit surprised. Why? As people, my reputation precedes me, apparently.
a bit. Yeah, the fellow who brought us here mentioned that you were injured. What were the circumstances behind that? You were. Did you see anyone? Did you hear anything before it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I've lost track of how many people I've told this to. I I woke up. I needed to basically answer the call of nature, as they say. So I decided rather than head out to the latrines, and he kind of almost leans in, kind of conspiratorial to whisper at this point. So, before I was put on duty to clean those things out, those things were an absolute nightmare.
Uh,
I didn't want to go anywhere near them, so I went out. I found somewhere else out in the woodlands to relieve myself because, well, you get a whiff of those things at that point.
I completely understand. Yes.
Yeah, so he leans back and talks normally at that point. Yeah, so I went out to relieve myself, and I thought I saw a light further down the track, not very far away, and it looked like just a black shape on black running away from the train line. So I went down to find out what was happening because there shouldn't be anyone running around or messing around with the tracks, especially at that late night. It's not
Oh,
like to have
yes.
anyone to be working. We were all asleep at that point. And it's as I got what I thought was relatively close to where I saw this person running away from, that kaboom, and being hit by that spike nearly well, pretty much threw me to the ground. It went almost straight through this side, and he pulls his shirt down to reveal the great big
Oh,
scar that he's
yes,
got there.
yes.
Yeah, nearly came out the other side. But
Well, it could have been a few inches further on, and it might have done more serious damage. You're fortunate, though, not so fortunate. Um, we, uh, we, I am part of a group that was contacted to come out here and do a little investigation and see if we can find out what's going on.
so you're working for the kind of the higher ups with the traffic bureau? They're
Yes,
presumably the ones
yes.
that taken an interest in this?
Yes, but I'm myself a member of the clergy who just happens to be a bit of an expert on certain things, which is why I'm here. I'm much happier cooking, and perhaps later we'll play some violin for you and a little fiddling to keep everybody's spirits high.
That's good. I like a good fiddle.
Tell me something too. Locals. Have you had any difficulty with locals or spoken to any of the locals who live hereabouts?
No, we've been pretty lucky, really. That was one of the main concerns when we started this work. That would be plowing through at least the area between lots of different plots of land. There were a few bits of purchase that, well, I think it was the town council back in Venice were organizing that kind of the bureaucratic end of things. I was worried those people that were having to sell parts of their land or maybe had reluctantly sold parts of their land might have been a bit reluctant to have the train line pass so close to their houses. But at least around here, as far as I'm aware, it's mainly just farmland. And
Ah,
well, with the famine, it's not exactly great growing season, and it's mostly woodland we're plowing through anyway. So no, we've not really annoyed anyone. There's no one that's angry around here. We've only really seen a couple of the locals, apart from one lady, Marie. She comes up fairly regularly to deliver bark bread to us.
Marie
Um,
Elstrom. Yes, that's the
that's her.
basket. We met her, and I brought the basket for her.
Oh, yeah, she's a nice lady.
I see. Excellent. Well, if you see anything or hear anything unusual, especially something unusual, um, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't hesitate to come and tell me, even if it's something very strange, because I myself have sometimes these mysteries are solved in the most extraordinary ways, and one never knows what one might encounter out here in the woods. A lot of old things out here.
Yeah, it's well, prime territory for that kind of thing. I'm not much of a believer in weird stuff, but also the only weird thing that's really been going on here is all the guards obviously going missing.
Yes, we've heard that some of the guards have gone missing. Of course, in the woods it can be treacherous, but you found nothing. So
Well, so
that's,
I haven't been on any of the search parties. I've been digging latrines and
yes, of
doing
course.
kitchen duty ever since I got back from the infirmary back in Venice.
And the other boys, are they all familiar to you? Are they people you've worked with before? Lots of uh, familiar faces.
Yeah, loads of us worked on some of the road projects. 'Cause, the mayor of Venice had got set a whole building program, rebuilding local roads going in and out of town as part of the relief package for obviously for
Huh.
providing aid for food purchase. And when this project came up, a whole load of us jumped from the same work gangs, essentially jumped on the boat and got in as soon as we could do. So there's a lot of familiar faces that were all been working for local government sponsored work for the last few months.
Huh. Oh, very good. Anybody that you don't know? Anybody who looks like a total stranger or
We're all
perhaps is a
everyone
bit
is.
suspicious?
He kind of smiles at that and goes, "No, well, honestly, we're a good bunch here. That pretty much everyone is." He almost hesitates to use the word desperate, but eventually does so. But yeah, everyone here needs food, even the guards. I mean, the guards obviously were the ones that were brought in later than everyone
Yeah.
else, so we don't know them as well. But they're all local. They're all local guys, so we at least know most of them by sight, or if someone of a friend knows them.
Uh,
They're not like suddenly who is this dark stranger that's walked in. But no, the work crew themselves, we're a nice little kind of tight knit group. But the guards are the more recent ones, and they're a little bit on edge, obviously, with everything that's been going on.
yes, yes. Well, we've brought some extra supplies, and we should be having some nice potatoes tonight. And uh,
I love a good
the
potato.
famine goes on, but we do what we can to, especially you workers. You are the blood and soul of our country.
It's nice to see someone hold us in some high regard for once. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's about that time, obviously, that's when Bjarn will come through the door. This got a outhouse of a man that invites you back to Karita's tent to say everyone's gathering there for a bit of a discussion. So we'd like you've been invited to join us, Father.
Ah, okay, very good. I'll come along then.
Yep, and everyone is together. So, which point Carita will introduce Bjarn. Say, Bjarn here is my my head of security. Um, he does not look best happy with you guys there, and is yeah, he not quite looking down his nose at you, but his eyes are slightly narrowed, and you can sense there is a bit of hostility between him and you, between you five.
Well, something will have to work.
But right, so you wanted everyone together, so everyone is together. So I've got 10 guards that I can give you for apprehending. Well, you're saying, suggesting start with Marie when she comes up from the farm.
Yes, she should be here sometime within a short period.
Marie and then the newspaper lady.
Dagny.
Oh, Dagny, yes. Lundgren, yes. I think she went off with the work crew that went down to repair the last bombing site, so they should be back within the next half an hour or so.
That's probably good. It'll give us a chance to talk with Marie for a bit before Dagny realizes that we know the house has got a bomber in it.
Right.
So I don't know if it's possible that in the work so far, anybody's found anything that might appear to be human remains and hasn't brought it up.
Yeah, Karita is kind of like shocked by that statement. It's like human remains out here. Oh, we've literally been plowing through the middle of nowhere. If anyone had found anything, they would have definitely that would be not something you could hide out here. I mean, well, obviously not. You could probably hide a body quite easily out in the forest in the middle of nowhere, but it's not something that the workforce would have kept from us. No, that would have been big news on site.
That's one possibility out of the way then. Valentina, do you want to explain what you've found out so far to any or all? I don't know.
As far as what?
As far as the one of the missing guards goes.
Oh, the one of the and I was trying to think of which guard that was. Was that Hans? Or
Yeah, I think Hans was definitely one of the names you had.
because there's 4 missing people, and
I've got an Erasmus.
Sundin.
Yeah. Rasmus was the husband of Marie, the one who's
that's right.
the farmer that's dead. I think you went for the first one on the list,
Yeah.
which would have been Hans. Yeah.
So yes, we did contact Hans, and yes, it's describes what it was like a crying baby or child that he picked up, put on his back, and seemed to get heavier. He was compelled almost to carry the child south, right? It was going south, if I remember right. And each step, the child's getting heavier and heavier until he couldn't bear the weight anymore and collapsed underneath of it.
Again, Karita looks a little bit confused. That sounds, well, definitely unnatural. Is that?
Well, that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I reached out to you in the first place.
Now, I haven't tried to contact the other 3 missing, but we can. We have their names to see if that story is the same story over and over.
If I may speak up for a moment, gentlemen, we have some experience with the very strange and unusual. There are things out in the woods that are as yet unexplained by our religion and our science, and they linger. We are here in suspect that we believe that something like that may be at play. I mean, you've all heard of fairies and elves and so forth. It's nothing quite like that. This thing, we believe it's something called a myling, marling,
Myling.
myling, myling, the spirit of a dead child. That's it sounds a bit far-fetched, but all the evidence seems to show that this thing is out there. If you hear the sound of a crying child, do not go in that direction. Go away from it. Report it to us, but don't go in that direction. It also only seems to be a problem on Sundays. So Sunday night, no children.
Gotcha. I mean, that would certainly explain what's happened to our guards, because obviously, if any of them heard a child in distress, I can't think of anyone here that wouldn't go to help.
Yes, there
But
should be no children out in these woods.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
And in
yeah,
part, that's why we're. Go ahead.
I was thinking it was more fairies because of the whole iron of our rail.
Well, we're wondering why the rails themselves are being destroyed, and it might be some other thing, because as you correctly assume, iron deters the Fae, and if some Fae needs to cross the line, but so far everything seems to point that we have a conspirator who's blowing up the line for some reason we don't know yet. And Rasmus there was, Ingvar there was injured, but I don't think the conspirators actually intend to injure anyone. It may have been an accident. They're using a timing device to set off the explosive. So if you see any packages or boxes or things that look unusual or out of place, alert us immediately.
No packages, no kids. Got it. And looks over at Valentina as was about to get a word in edgeways.
Oh, no, sorry. I mean, that's kind of why we were asking about, Erickson was asking about any bones, any small packages. A child's bone could have looked like an animal bone, unfortunately, just kind of wrapped up and discarded to the side.
Yeah. No, we haven't found anything that would be even remotely alerted any concern. At least nothing that I've been told. But like I said, that news would have gone through the camp like wildfire. People here talk. There's not exactly much to break up the monotony of the day. So
Likewise, you haven't found the remnants of any homes that are along the lines of the track?
Any homes?
The remnants of a long collapsed dwelling, part of a cellar or foundation?
No, nothing like that. There was an old, when this was actually way, way back down the line, there was an old cabin like a hunter's lodge that we tore down, but that thing had been there for, well, God knows how long, and a stiff breeze could have knocked it down. But yeah, that's about 10 kilometers back.
What Game Master, what day of the week is it? I keep forgetting.
I think we are on Friday evening, so we're going in towards Saturday, because you actually arrived like a day earlier than I'd originally thought. So, because it would have been the Sunday night coming up tonight, but you're 24 hours ahead of that.
I'm not sure how well. This is Sweden, so they're Lutheran, probably High Lutheran. I don't know if they go to confession. I'll tell them all. I'll say, no doubt you've been out here for quite a while. This Sunday morning, I will be performing services for you. We'll perform them in the wild. And if you need to have your confessions heard, I will be available the next day or so if you wish.
Sure, yeah. We sometimes have one of the priests come up from the church down in Venice, but we certainly won't object to you guys being here. Yeah.
Well, God will protect us from whatever spirits might be lurking about woods.
And we're here to take any and all protection available to us at this point. So, right. Without needing to belabor the point, if folks are happy, we can skip forward to Marie being maybe about half an hour later. Marie being not manhandled but escorted to the tent as a couple of the guards politely say, "Oh, thank you for coming up to the camp. Would you mind coming over to here? Karita would like to have a word with you." And yeah, a couple of the security guards, flanked by a couple more as she gets closer to the tent, will be able to bring her to you. She's looking a bit like a rabbit caught in headlights as she's brought in, seeing you five here, plus Karita as the head forewoman and the head of security. She's looking a little bit nervous. Something wrong?
Miss Alstrom, I was with the other, my associates when they chatted with you in your farmhouse.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And I, in a course of our natural investigation, I peered through your boarded up windows and saw the woman in there with the carriage clocks.
She gulps.
Who is she, and why is she doing what she's doing?
Oh, yeah, this doesn't look particularly great, does it? Camilla, her name's Camilla. Camilla Nick Larson. She's, as far as I understand this thing, quite politically motivated. She's more leans towards the left. She's a friend of Dagny's, the journalist,
Oh,
and the two of them have a kind of working relationship that they both intensely dislike how, and she looks sheepishly towards the two figures of authority in here. Unfortunately, dislikes very much how your operation is being run, not by yourselves, but by the higher ups, with the likes of the traffic bureau and the mayor of Banis, who should be following the letter of the law as laid down by government regarding the Poor Care Regulation Act. That the Poor Care Regulation Act, that care was supposed to be open to all who needed it, that they shouldn't be forced to work for it, that this is a severe social injustice. And as far as I'm aware, Nick Larson didn't ever want to hurt anyone. She just wanted to get more people more food on their plate. So was bombing the line so that it would take more people. More people would be hired to come up here and do the repairs or guard the line. And she
Well,
was beating herself up after that bomb went off and nearly killed that guy.
and yet she didn't stop.
There wasn't much of a response. I mean, what she turns to Clarita said, "What, you had about a handful of people come up here after that, sent up from the town?" Which she nods. "And how many have you got here now?" And she says, "Yeah, we've got about 20 guards in total now." Need I say more?
Yeah, kind of spreading the wealth through bombing and destruction. That's
And almost killing someone.
and nearly killing. And yeah,
Well, there's a moral issue if you are causing the same problems that you're benefiting from. That's still a criminal act, my dear.
Yeah, but I'm not. I stressed the point. I'm not doing this. The only thing I've done is give them a roof over their head, and I didn't know that's what they were planning on doing until after I'd agreed that that's what they'd come here to do, and I couldn't turn away the money because, look, you've seen my place. I'm on my knees.
Of course. Well, we need to collect this Dagny and Camila, don't we?
yes. Well, we expect that Dagny is going to be coming back with the workers from the repair site. Bjarn, you'll take her in hand, I suppose, readily.
Oh yeah, we won't have any trouble getting a journalist. She's got soft hands. She hasn't worked a day in her life.
And then, if you don't know where the Alstrom farmhouse is, we can take you, or I suppose Miss Alstrom can. She's losing her tenants now. But the woman probably is armed. She shows a facility with explosives. And as you can tell from this confession, she's not entirely right. So I would suggest, a fair contingent of men and caution.
Yeah, and I'm happy taking at least 10 up there, if not more.
Well, and bear in mind that if this is true, her intentions were not to harm anybody, but to in fact improve your situation. It's misguided, but she doesn't deserve to be treated badly or manhandled. Just be fair and gentle.
I'll be fair and gentle to her as soon as she's not holding any explosives.
Is it possible that I don't know which one, Helena or myself, look closer to Miss Alstrom? Maybe we could disguise ourselves and go in, and maybe distract her, bring her out, since we do know her name, call to her or something like that, or some kind of distraction. I mean, a veil would be easy enough, some kind of headscarf, and if we're a similar build, or Helena is, one of us are similar build, yeah.
For sake of leaving it open, either of you could easily fit into that role.
Well, why don't you take Miss Alstrom with you? Perhaps she could ease the...
Put her in harm's way. I don't know if she wants, and she's probably culpable too. At least,
yeah, she could warn her and cause some sort of mass hysteria.
We have her side of the story, but
I'll let you handle that sort of thing.
I'm not much of a fighter, but I mean, we could definitely bring her out and maybe get her outside the farmhouse, and then, your men take her.
Yeah, I'd rather have her out in the open. But again, assuming she's not crazy enough to have like a couple of sticks of dynamite shoved in her pocket. But yeah, somewhere out in the open where she can't rush back to a stockpile and then blow herself up would be the way I'd want to approach this. So if we can get her out of the house, then we can have people pincer movement from both sides and grab her. Yeah.
Yeah, probably just calling to her name, calling that, somebody needs help carrying water, or I've tripped, I've hurt myself. Please, come out and help me get up, or whatever it might be that we can lure her out. I mean, I don't think she's, black-hearted, that she wouldn't come out and probably help. So,
and yeah, Marie agrees that, saying, yeah, I mean, if I were to call to her from outside, she's helped me move stuff around outside without any problem before, so I don't see why she wouldn't do it again.
And would you consider coming with us and bringing her out peacefully?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want anyone getting hurt. Like I said, she didn't want anyone to get hurt, so I think this should go quite amicably.
Do we trust her on that?
Give me an observation roll to see if she's hiding anything there.
Got 5 dice for that.
Yeah. Oh, I got 1 success.
Okay. Yeah, you're not actually catching any kind of deceptive wind in what she's saying. She's not like she's not got her fingers crossed behind her back and is saying, "Oh yeah, I'll get there and then I'll help you all completely every step of the way."
Well, if things go wrong, it's going to blow up her house and everything she owns and everything, so if we can do this peacefully, if she's more than willing to help, then let's, instead of Valentina or Helena do it, let's just use Maria, like Father had suggested. So
I'm going to sort of or discreetly, pulled Valentina a little to the side so that only she hears what I say. I'm a bit reticent to say this to you, but I'm not so sure that you shouldn't try and contact the other missing guards and see if there's not something more going on here than what we suspect.
I'm
Everything
hoping
seems very easily solved.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping since maybe we've got this mundane problem solved, and we can maybe turn our attentions to why we're here. But yes, I completely agree. I think we should contact, and we could do this. I think we're all going, or at least some of us are going to Alstrom's house or her farmhouse, and then maybe after we get back from there.
I think you should also see if Erasmus Ulstrom has something more to say about it.
Ah, her husband.
I don't know. I'd sort of like to ask Marie if there was never a child at some point that didn't survive.
Been thinking
But I
that too.
think at the moment, I would put that to her. She's under some duress already.
Well, it's an easy thing that maybe Helena could ask as we were walking, because we've got a bit of a walk. Like, was there, you never had children, something like that kind of approach?
Yeah, I could easily just have conversation to,
Right.
What if she
Easier
had a
to-
child? What if she had a child and the famine was such that she had to
It
do
could
the
be,
unspeakable?
Well, there's one thing that will happen before you start the trek back, but it's not going to interfere with anything here unless you want to bring her in as well. That, as mentioned, you've got the work team which are coming back from south of the line, so Dagny will also be with them. So she will also be taken to one side by the guards. What do you want to do with her?
Talk to her.
Jan, yeah.
I mean, you guys.
Okay, so this is before you're heading back to the Alstrom house.
Yeah, you said that they'd be here in like half an hour. So.
Yeah.
it's getting toward
Yep.
meal time, so they were probably on their way.
Okay, so yep, same thing then. In which case, the rail team arrive. The steam train obviously comes with them. She's brought in by the guards to the tent and is looking a little bit more inquisitive rather than worried and kind of rabbit in headlights that Marie was. If anything, has her pad and pen at hand, ready to take down any notes of what's being discussed. And so, you want to have a word with me? Anything for the newspaper?
I suppose the last thing you might write up to submit to your paper is the arrest of Camilla Larson, which is imminent.
She almost drops her pen at that. What? Pardon?
We have unveiled your dirty communist conspiracy.
Dirty conspiracy? What? That's libelous. And she starts scribbling down the words word for word.
Well,
I think you're going to have a hard time disproving the conspiracy part, given that you're aiding and abetting a bombing campaign.
I'm reporting the news. This is what I'm doing.
Not all of it. How long have you and Camilla been engaging in acts of sabotage?
I feel like the need for a lawyer at this point.
I imagine the nearest magistrate is in Vaesen. Vanas?
Yes.
Yes, you'll probably get a lawyer when you get to Vanas. I'm not representing the state. Before Bjorn and his associates haul you down to Vanas, we still have the mystery of the missing guards, and I believe you know nothing about that. Is that so?
Correct. Nothing. we made a point of making sure that no one got hurt. So
Almost.
that big lug that went too close when he saw we saw Camilla running away from the train line, that he happened to be in the wrong place at the right time, or vice versa.
Anything you say can and will be used against you.
At which point she shuts up completely.
So, regarding the missing guards, have you noticed anything yourself out of the ordinary while you've been reporting here? Have you ever heard what sounded like a child crying in the distance? Or have you noticed any strange markings or peculiarly shaped trees, anything at all that struck you?
She kind of raises an eyebrow at that. So weird. Um, Give me a manipulation roll, because there might be one thing that she thinks is so insignificant that she's not going to say anything. But depending on how persuasive you are, she might actually say.
Anything at all. It might strike you as 2 successes.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I mean, I can't think definitely no kids out here. I mean, we're in the middle of goddamn nowhere. I suppose the only such a little thing.
Yes.
Well, when we were scouting out places to potentially plant a bomb that we thought would be far enough away that they couldn't miss it, but also far enough away that it wouldn't hurt anyone, let's say big lugs notwithstanding, there was a tree that we sat down and put all our gear down before we moved it out to the train tracks themselves and placed the explosives. With the drought, it was unusual to find a place where there was still some green vegetation around the base of one of the trees.
Mhm.
But yeah, kind of wedged between two of the large roots of the tree going down, there was this little green patch that we found, and it was still vaguely soft, and yeah, it was just this one little patch of green and an otherwise sea of brown.
That sounds very interesting. How about, can you show us where along the train line that was and whether it was to the east or west?
It was on the west side of the tracks,
Oh,
pretty much perpendicular to where the first bomb went, where the first explosion happened.
how many meters do you think from the tracks did you find this little oasis?
It's about 3 trees back from the tree line.
Quite close by.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very helpful bit of journalism. I hope that the magistrate treats you fairly. We'll testify that we believe that you intended no harm to persons. Property, however, they take quite seriously.
Well, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, it's all property that's funded by the town council, and that's that really greed incarnate at a Sunstrom down in Omea.
Well, they haven't hung a woman for decades. I'm sure you'll be fine.
While they don't hang people for. They do imprison them.
Yeah. Oh, she gulps. Right. Otherwise, we can then, if you wanted to move forward, we could then do the trek to the Alstrom property, where I think Helena was going to try and prod gently, say, "Hey, did you ever have a kid? Were you lying about anything?" Or,
Yeah, I was gonna just really start the conversation very light, and more about the area, maybe inquire about. I think there was a manor house of some sorts that was
Mhm.
somewhere nearby. Just kind of general locale kind of questions, and then well, what about you? And
Oh, what about me? Not much to tell from my end of things, really.
yeah, it just seems you know very lonely where you're at.
It's lonely
You
around a
know,
lot of these places.
you lost your husband and all of that, and Did you have any children?
She will give me an observation roll to see what her immediate response to that is.
Right there
Okay.
too. So
Yeah, anyone that's there can try it.
Okay, that is 2 successes.
more
Four.
successes.
Wow, you were
Wow.
banking those up for when it really counted, weren't you?
Well, I have 8 dice, so yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's still pretty good. Normally, when we play Vaesen, every the 6th side on the D6 just goes blank, and they never
Yeah.
turn up. But right, so
So
did Helena get in?
right behind and I'm just
Had 2.
listening.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Yeah. So from Helena's perspective, yeah, there's a little bit of a reaction there, but it's so minor. You're not too sure exactly if she actually did react or whether it was a trick of the light or something. For the father, there's just a neon sign above her head that goes, I have got such a well-practiced poker face at this point that unless you knew exactly the minute wrinkle on her face to be able to work out her tell, she has been practicing denying this for a while now, because you know that she knows admitting to this would sign her own death warrant. Because remember that the only punishment for infanticide is the death of the person the mother who does it.
Yeah.
Or commits it. So she is very much keeping her head out of the noose, but to say she is so well practiced at doing so for fear of risking her own life, that she just says, no, we were never blessed with kids.
Oh, and I kind of just go on with it and just say, oh, that's unfortunate that you weren't blessed with children. I'm very sorry.
Yes, I'm not sure I'm going to confront her on it, but I might say something that would upset her further. Like,
You're pushing some buttons.
well, yeah, I'll say to whoever's next to me also, because we're like right behind Helena and her. I'll say, I'd like very much tomorrow, once it's light, to go and see if we can find that patch of greenery in the tree, in between the tree roots. I suspect there might be something buried there.
Yeah, we do have a good location on that. So yes.
I'm not even going to put that down to a manipulation roll. I'm just going to say that's enough to push a big red button for her. Yeah, she does look around to you and kind of stumbles a little bit. What was that?
We've been. You heard our conversation in there. We've been having a strange. We're here for strange things, spirits, space, and things like that. We think that a myling is on the loose. Something we suspect was buried out in the woods. And I'm kind of looking at her like, you know what I'm talking about.
You can see the words kind of going straight over her head at that. She doesn't. I think it was mentioned last time also, she doesn't believe in any weird stuff anyway.
Right.
So yeah, she probably doesn't understand what you're talking
Okay.
about.
Oh yeah, just
well, I'm just saying that she's
Child.
definitely though reacting to the burial spot.
Oh yes. She knows what that is, but she doesn't know what a myling is.
We suspect it's just a child that was deceased and buried. Unconsecrated ground, just kind of maybe unwanted or.
Yeah, I don't even think they had names. Actually, I don't believe they were
Correct.
provided names. Yeah.
And now
Usually
4
by-
guards.
Usually by families that couldn't take care of the children.
Hopefully, Father, if we do find this child, if there is an infant buried there, we will see it in consecrated ground and the proper rites
Yes.
done.
Yes.
There may be one other thing that we may have to do to make sure that, all is peaceful with it, but
Oh, what might that be?
well, there's various ways. Justice.
Sometimes you have to find out what they want.
Different things are appeased in different ways.
You can
It
see
might
she's trying to go into a bit of self-denial when she kind of looks away and kind of shakes her head and just almost says to herself, people believe the weirdest things.
Well, have you decided what you're going to say to Camilla to call her out?
And yeah, I mean, I can ask if she could give me some help at the well, or if she's, well, in fact, I'm open to suggestions.
Well, Jan, you're the expert. You'll want to array your men somewhere outside of the site.
Maybe in the barn. We maybe could get her out to the barn or something.
Yeah,
Because that would be
the
easy
well,
for the.
yeah, the well's out back, so if we wanted to get her out back, we can have people in the barn. That's easy enough.
It was close enough that they could storm out and she couldn't get. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds, yeah. Just simple help with water, fetching in water.
Okay, Marie's happy with that.
I mean, yeah, that should be an innocent enough request. She's not going to run out with
Mhm.
dynamite in hand. I would
No,
hope
very
not.
true. Doesn't everyone
I'll
who
catch
goes
your
out
water.
water?
I'll get your water.
I mean, you're being very precautious, but hopefully a person who's trying to do something that they think is good for the common worker is not quite as willing to blow themselves to kingdom come
Mhm.
in order to make the point. But then again, she could be wacko nutso cuckoo.
We'll
That
see.
highly technical term, yeah.
Yeah. Put her in the booby hatch.
Right. In which case, then, if everyone's happy with that as a plan,
Yeah.
um,
I'll be hanging back, but yeah.
Yeah.
gotcha. In which case, you get to the farm, then a couple of the guards remain with you guys and Marie, so that so that she hasn't got anyone just to run off. And then the other, let's say 8, they divide into 2 groups of 4 and start to go around the perimeter of the farm. Eventually, coming up, one of the group comes up behind the barn, another group comes up near the tree line, so that's close to the well. So they are close enough to be able to kind of intercept from both sides. And then you guys with Marie come up towards the house, and then immediately go around the back without going up into the house itself, and then going over towards the well. They instruct Marie, right, you stay here, we're going to pull back. Obviously not announcing that loudly, but at least then giving you time to pull back round the edge of the house, and then giving Marie the signal to call to Camilla. And she does. It says, yeah, Camilla, dear, would you mind giving me a hand? I'm a bit tired after the walk to the railhead, and I could do with getting this bucket inside. And she's pulling, doing a good effort of pulling the bucket out of the well, and without any kind of hesitation or running outside carrying sticks of dynamite like their candles. Um, yeah, this lady that you'd seen through the window before, again dressed in black, comes outside, uh, more with her attire more suited for being indoors for well past the heat of the day. Comes outside, blinking a little bit because she hasn't been out in the bright daylight all day, and starts making her way towards the well. At which point, the 2 pincers of your trap move in, and you from behind. She just stands looking as if she's poised to run in whichever direction she can find, but is rapidly finding that all main directions that she could use to get out of here have been covered. So she's kind of on edge, looks like she's ready for a fight, but is not carrying anything that would go boom. So,
Well, I mean, they're some strong men. I'd like to take the opportunity to maybe look around in the house to see if we have evidence of an infant that was born. Family Bible, just mementos, things like that. So I'm going to slide in anyone, else, but Valentina's going to slide in to the house before Maria. And
Yeah, I'll definitely follow you.
yeah, you take
okay.
care of the bombs.
Yeah, that's also a valid thing to get rid of because there is still a whole load of explosives in the back room. So yeah, you don't even need to sneak off. You can literally just go in there and no one's really going to notice that you've gone in. So you are able to gain entry to the house without any problem. If you're wanting to go to the explosives, congrats, you've got a crate for the dynamite. That can be helpful for later endeavors. And
Perfect.
Valentina, you can give me an investigation roll, see if you can find anything physically around here.
I'm just making sure everybody's treated well and nothing gets out of hand.
Gotcha. There's a little bit of almost hostage negotiation style of kind of, hey, calm down, nothing's gonna, we're not here to harm you. We're just obviously here to get you to the railhead and get you to the authorities. No one here is out for a fight. And they're trying to talk her down, and there is going to be this little tense standoff, but ultimately it's not going to escalate into anything more.
Yeah,
That
good.
she does come quietly. In fact, there's a little bit of pointing and saying, you don't understand. None of you would be, none of you, and she points to all the guards, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. You wouldn't have food on your plates if it wasn't for me. The government in Vanis doesn't care. They just want money to line their own pockets. And she basically goes on a long, verbose justification of why she's doing what she's doing, which you've heard the more quiet rationale from Marie already.
All right, I got one success.
One is good. Having a look around the house there's very meager possessions here, so there's not really much by way of furniture. There's not really much by way of anything here at all now. So when someone came through here and made a very pointed effort to remove all the signs of everything you're looking for, they almost did a perfect job because there wasn't much to get rid of in the first place. But you do find one, almost you could look at it as being a cot bed, where it looks like railings were put up around the bed, and you can see where they have then been removed. So there's lots of telltale signs of screws that have gone into the wood, and thinking, well, people wouldn't have necessarily needed this small bed with this got a pillow on top of it. They wouldn't have needed to put bars up unless they were worrying about something rolling off it. And that's about the only telltale sign that you can see there was anything ever here.
Like a crib that, has been, yeah. All right.
Yeah, disassembled.
That's exactly just confirms what we already knew. So.
Yep, and you're able to come back outside just at the point when two of the guards either side of Camilla pretty much put their vice-like hands on her shoulders and say, "Right, we'll be taking you back to the camp now." And Marie looking very what's what I'm looking for? Looking very relieved that everything has gone relatively peacefully.
And no more dynamite in our house. Father, Helena, could we all find someplace quietly to speak?
Obvious, of course. Over here.
So yeah, walk away from Maria especially. Yeah, I found a disassembled crib essentially in there. So I mean, if I do believe I'm correct, is it not part of these mylings, finding justice by vengeance on the mother, or at least the mother turning herself in, getting justice upon her?
I don't know. It's very strange. sort of thing. I think the reason why it's active is because it wasn't properly buried in sacred ground. It was never given a name. And I think that the living are important. And Maria Elstrom is still here with us amongst the living. What do you think about doing a seance here?
And calling the
with her present? She doesn't believe, but your gifts. We could just, I don't know what would happen if you tried to summon the child. You don't know the name. It has no name.
It has no name.
On the other hand,
husband,
we know where the
husband.
remains are. And if we,
Yes, we can
retrieve the remains and you
take it to the
sanctify
church.
them, name them, and bury them,
Yes.
then perhaps this woman won't have to suffer any more than she has.
I don't know if that's
It just
I'm
might
not
not be
so sure.
sufficient.
sufficient.
Perhaps she'd like to speak with her husband one last time.
Have you seen the state of the grave? I think
Yeah.
she'd curse a blue streak at him.
She's not happy with his loss, with him.
I
From
think
what
that
she
she
told
might-
us, though.
She might blame him for the child not having the resources to live.
Well,
Yeah.
if she was pregnant when he was killed,
I have a question for Matt. Could I channel the spirit of the myling with automatic writing?
Good question. Let me just check on how that one works, because it's rare that anyone picks that particular one.
the
It's a fun one,
child
though.
doesn't know how to write. Circle, little sun.
Crayons.
Smiley face. Yeah.
It's a fun talent. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I like the question. And I have a similar question. I mean, we talked about doing this over the grave of the husband, or the grave in the back of not knowing at that point we didn't know the name. So
Yeah.
is it possible to contact not knowing the name over the grave, over the remains?
Knowing the name makes it significantly
Because you're
easier.
calling into, yeah.
Yeah, that if you try to do it with just remains, you run the risk of attracting something else.
And I worry because it's already something else.
Yes.
It's not just
So
a
it might-
child. So
It might be
Very
you might
angry
end up with the
spirit.
same result. You might end up getting you might end up getting the myling come here, but you might not get Rasmus. But if you wanted if you wanted Rasmus, you can go to his grave, but then obviously knowing his name, you'll get Rasmus turn up.
Right.
If you go to the gravesite where the child was buried, then you're gonna have the myling turn up, or you're gonna have the myling turn up. You don't
yeah, I mean, it sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah,
if we're not
I just-
prepared to deal with the myling.
yeah, both doors end up going to the same room.
But if we have a plan for the myling, we don't have to wait till it arises
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Well, I'm hopeful that if I could do this automatic writing, I might be able to get what the myling wants, and we get a little bit more information about her motivations, thoughts, feelings, kind of thing.
If it says kill mommy, then we kind of know what's up.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it just says that you channel spirits, so I don't see why you can't channel. If that's the particular spirit you're reaching out to, I don't see why you can't do that.
I like it.
just remember it's angry and violent. I'm
It'll write
kind of
real
curious though about what's up with her husband. Is that what really happened? Because we now suspect that she murdered a child.
Did she murder her husband?
Did she murder her husband? I mean,
Yeah, running over him.
she's very well practiced at her answers.
At which case, then turning her in at that point isn't that hard.
Like I say, I was reticent because I can't be involved
Yes,
in
yes.
summoning up the dead, but you're there. I probably am even in trouble spiritually
thinking
for
it.
asking you. Yeah.
Just say a few Hail Marys and look the other way. It's all fine.
All sins can be forgiven, Father. You should know that.
Yes, but they still have consequences on your soul.
No, I think that's a reasonable request, though. I mean, I think it's reasonable to talk to the husband and this Erasmus.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we could do that now once they
We're here, right?
yeah, clean up, take our mad bomber away. And yeah.
I'm also, I guess, outside of that, I'm kind of concerned for Maria's soul as well, because she doesn't believe, but if she actually sees something, then she might find regret for the child, and she might repent of her sins or whatever. But
Or she may not believe. Well, yes, yeah. I mean,
it's just
yeah, if you can talk her into
it's
standing
what
there
I
and
do. Yeah, well, she needs to
comfort
be
her
there.
father while we try this.
You and your voodoo.
No, I mean I mean, yeah, if I can get everyone to help like before, and yeah,
Well, they can take Camila and Dagny.
yes, we can fight our way back.
Yeah, that they're take it that the security guards are all leaving and taking Camilla, so it's just you and Marie that's left at the farm now. So yeah, she's gonna put the bucket down in the well and kind of huffs and says, "Well, I guess that's my rent, the extra money from rent gone now. I best head inside and start cleaning the place up and getting ready for the next delivery of bread that I can take up to the workers if they'll have me again, I guess."
I don't
There's
think anyone. We all understand poverty right now.
I
I hope they paid in advance at least.
Yeah,
you know,
they did.
I once heard a story about a famous case in England where three sailors had been stranded out in the ocean and they were dying of hunger. And one of them was very sick, and so they, you know, being hungry, ate him because he was going to die anyway. And they were pardoned by the Queen, I think. It's just
The
something to
English
keep
are
in mind.
the English are notably barbarous people,
Hmm.
not
Island
civilized like
apes.
we
That's not what I
Scandinavians.
took from that. That's not what I took from that story. In fact, quite the opposite. As a sailor myself, I understood.
I don't have sea legs.
Moral of
No,
this story
that's
is don't go sailing with an Englishman.
Mhm.
Three of them.
Or you
I
bring
don't
the
know.
Englishmen along with you so you can eat them.
Oh yeah.
Well, um, Father, did you want to talk to Maria or
well, I'm
bring her
not going
into
to be
this?
involved in it,
I
but
don't know if she'll stand there.
Maria Valentina has the
We're gonna be
gift
we're gonna be
of
asking questions that she may not want to hear.
Well,
uh,
what questions? What gift?
We were gonna maybe talk to your husband.
She almost scoffs. It's yeah. Well, his grave's over there.
Yeah, I see, and it doesn't look like we're very happy with him.
Hmm? Oh, she looks over to it. Oh, the cross. Oh, um, I hadn't noticed that it had been broken. To be honest, I'll have to get around to repairing that.
So you weren't angry, didn't kick it, maybe.
You can't quite see the neon sign above her head, but um, the thinly veiled. Yeah, I got very angry and kind of threw something at it. Is she knew what broke it and damaged it?
Right. I mean, it's hard, and I don't know what your husband was like or many men around here. I don't know if he was a caring person or not, but um,
my dear, if you had the
being angry with him.
opportunity to speak with him one last time, would you have any objection? Any reason not to speak with him?
She looks at you kind of with a really kind of look on her face. Says, "Well, honestly, I I wouldn't turn down the opportunity. I
Oh,
Then
excellent.
you stand over here and
Keep
just
an open
observe.
mind. Keep an open mind to this.
It's not necessary for you to believe, but it is necessary for me to go over there. And, I'm a member of the clergy in the church. I'm not allowed to have anything to do with necromancy.
I'm going to prep the site, get my crystal ball out. Candles, would all my, and get the rest of the group around so I can draw from them. And
Gotcha. So
if
those
I
that
can,
are partaking in the seance, who has a point of observation? Raise your hand. Okay, so you get 2 extra dice from one from Helena, one from Oscar, and then plus your observation yourself, your bonus from the crystal ball too. And Franz is there for moral support.
yes, she doesn't. All right, that is 8 dice.
Not too shabby.
Let's see. Oh, 2 successes.
That's pretty good. So, Father Victor doesn't see this ball of darkness that that enshrouds you from his blissful. No, if I don't see it, it's not unholy. Kind of position over in the corner. But yeah, the group of you, as you're sat by the grave, there is just this inky black which seeps out of the ground, almost like oil pouring out of the very ground between the blades of grass themselves, and forms this ball around you, which cuts out all light other than what's provided by your candles. This does freak out Marie a little bit, going, "Okay, this is some fairly good parlor trick you've got going on here."
Can I grip her hand
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stay strong? Stay here.
And she's looking off into what seems to be the distance because it's just black. It's not, you can't really tell that it's a sphere around you. It's just illimitable void that goes off in in any direction until she hears stumbling from the direction of what would have been the barn, this figure coming towards you. And I would like a fear check from everyone, please, as this figure stumbles forward. That's a bit like what you encountered with the first victim, the myling, that he was a human banana. The man that comes towards you in this case is fine up until you get to the nose. And then there is just this broken, mashed, completely bloodied, crushed head that does correspond to what you've been told happened to him, that this wheel ran over his head. It caught him about here. So it leaves his mouth intact, able to speak, but the rest of the head is gone, and it is just this pulpy, bloody mess. So remember, it's your choice of logic or empathy. If you've got the brave talent, add 1. If you've got safety in numbers, add 2. And then because you've got 3 other people of the society immediately with you, you can add a further +3. You're looking for 1 success. Okay, Helena's fine.
One success.
Okay, Valentina's good.
2 successes.
Oscar's good. Franz is not so good, but
is not so good. No, he's not.
Okay. Your choice. You can choose from either going catatonic, flee, or attack the thing.
I think I'm gonna attack it because I am a military man.
Okay. Roll me 1d6.
It's 3.
Okay, you'll proceed to do this for 3 rounds. So as this thing comes towards you, how would you go for, what is your method of attack?
I think I'm going to get my sword out and say, "Back, demon!"
Okay, so you're starting to go hack and slash at this thing.
Yeah.
Clint, for heaven's sake. The man's been through enough. Should have tried to get his arms from behind.
He's a spirit. He's not going to hurt you.
Okay. I'll put this down to more narrative. So I'll give you the choice between you rather than resorting to dice rolls, because combat can be a fairly drawn out affair. Franz, are you happy for Oscar to basically try and stop you from going forward?
I mean, I think given the current situation, I'm a little bit too freaked out to fight too hard, and I think that since he's a member of society, I will concede to his holding me.
Okay, right. So
We
you
we
were able
want
to hold him, calm him down, basically.
we want answers for all that's holy.
I'm sorry, it just reminded me of a time long ago, the shipwreck I was in.
Oh,
I
Franz,
thought he
you
was
also
one of
take.
the.
Oh, carry on.
I was just going to say, I thought he was one of my crew.
Because you also failed the fear check, you also do pick up one mental condition as well.
All right, I'll take scared.
That seems quite reasonable. Yeah. Right. In which case, Marie is just stood there, eyes open wide like saucers, staring at this thing walking towards them, and this thing comes up into the immediate space around you, into the light, and it's like, "Hello, I thought I heard someone call, but I tries to put his finger where its ear would be, but I got this terrible ring in my ear. What?" And its hand goes straight through where its head should be.
Yes, I mean I did call you. I'm also here with your wife,
Oh, Marie,
Marie.
where is she? I can't see anything. It's really dark around here.
She's right in front of you.
Well, and starts reaching out almost like a zombie in that kind of directly in front of where he's standing, which makes her recoil. She is freaking the hell out at this point. Not as badly as Franz, but she is definitely freaking out a bit.
Erasmus, have you seen your child on the other side?
I I have a child.
An infant?
Uh, shakes what's left of
No?
its head. No, and at which point she then doesn't restrain herself any longer, and she leaps forward, uh, pretty much doing what Franz was going to do, barrels into what's left of her husband, and just starts wailing on him, just smacking his shoulders, smacking the head, say, "You stupid fucking bastard! You left me with a kid that I had to get rid of because I couldn't feed it. You stupid, stupid, stupid man!" And just continues to go off on him.
No, I don't. Is this attacking the dead like this? Is this the spirit? Is this bad? I mean, will it fight back? I mean, will it I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking my
It's
experience.
unusual. Yeah, you've never had a seance before where someone has kind of leapt on the spiritual manifestation of a
Well, I'm kind
spirit
of
that's coming
curious to
towards
see
you.
where this goes.
Yeah. your your best guess, you would think, it really depends on the temperament of the spirit and the relationship it has with the person that's attacking them. If it's someone that maybe they didn't know, it could go quite badly. But if it's someone they cared for in life, then maybe there's less of a chance that there would be a hostile reaction here. And definitely from what you're seeing, there doesn't seem to be an immediate kind of cowering. This thing doesn't kind of reel up and kind of draw upon unholy energies to fight back.
So
It's,
if
if anything, the guy is kind of taking it.
okay, so if Franz would have attacked, kept to his attack, then
That
maybe
that
it would have been a whole different situation.
that could have gone a bit more nasty. But
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'll let her get it out of her system because I think she's been, dealing with this for a while by herself.
Mhm. Yeah, eventually she will just stop and break down crying because she realizes what she said has pretty much signed her own death warrant if it can be proved.
I'll go over to her if I can and just kneel down and, put my arms around her.
Yeah, and she, between sobbing, she just eventually managed to rasp in a couple of breaths. That I couldn't do anything for him. This stupid lug here he'd left me with all the debt. He'd left me with the the farm collapsing. I had to get rid of the livestock. I hadn't got anything to hardly to feed myself. I couldn't feed the kid. And when I looked at the kid, all I saw was just the two eyes of the kid had his father's eyes and everything. Whenever I looked at the kid, I saw him, and just I I couldn't I couldn't just let the poor thing starve. I'd had to let all the livestock go, and what few that had left have already starved. I couldn't go through that again, not with a child.
Sounds like such a horrible situation that you're in.
Yeah. I'm sure that there have been many women who have found themselves in the same situation.
Yeah, and all of them hung from a rope.
Yes.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Um, uh,
Valentina should send
yeah,
Erasmus
I'm about
back.
to say.
So if there's any last thing you'd like to say, Miss Holstrom.
Yeah, she just looks at him and just almost like under her breath just says, "God damn you for placing me in this position."
And with that, I'll release.
Yep. And he gets up and without saying a word just staggers back into the dark. And at which point the rest of the world around you starts to come more into focus. Ball of blackness recedes into the ground, and there's the father reading his Bible off in a at a discreet distance, completely unaware of anything that's just gone on.
So I couldn't hear
Now, everything
her.
that's inside that, you didn't hear anything going on in there. But yeah, there's suddenly
but
there's a
I
bit
see
of
the black
commotion over there.
thing is gone. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Maria's
So
Yeah.
are we settled then?
unfortunately.
Yes.
Yes, I think we are settled.
We are assured, Father, that Erasmus's death was accidental,
Uh,
and the other thing was as we suspected. Mrs. Alstrom, we're going to exhume the remains. If you want to be there, I think it's your right. If we can keep your secret for you, we will, but we can't make any promises.
well, might I interject? Miss Ulstrom, you live out here in the middle of nowhere. Your husband passed away. Can we not just say the child died of disease and was buried?
It's all about extenuating circumstances. And I'll take out my flask and just offer it to anybody who wants it.
I don't think anybody needs to know anything.
I would agree with you, Father. Unfortunately, I don't know the infant
the child needs to be properly put to rest. My dear, what name were you going to give the child?
I didn't get around to it. The name, the only name that I could think of, like I said, whenever I looked into its eyes, I saw my husband. I was gonna name him Rasmus, but it just became harder and harder to even put food for both of us on the table. In the end, I thought, why, if I can't even give it food, why do I have to give it a name?
Well, gentlemen, what do you think? Ladies, what do you think? Perhaps you have been punished enough, Maria, and we will simply walk away. We will take care of the placing the child into sacred ground at the church, the problem should be solved.
Yeah, if it's all well and good with you, I'd prefer not to go to the gravesite because it's honestly painful. I mean, I the reason why I was taking all the bread and all the supplies I could up to the workforce was to hopefully get them away from to get them to move on further north, so they got further and further away from the site. They came so close to digging up the grave the first time anyway. They only missed it by a couple of trees.
The place has been described. That is, in fact, the place. Yes.
Yeah, she
Thank
kind of
you.
looks at the ground and nods.
So back to the camp and discuss our strategy from there.
If we
Yes.
have enough light, I would go to the site now and begin the process. But we could wait until tomorrow. It's not going to rise until Sunday morning.
Yeah, we have to get it to consecrated ground. And how far kind of did we estimate from the map kind of where the grave was to where the town was, to the closest consecrated ground that we could get to?
Well, it's half a kilometer to the south of the not the dig site, the campsite at the moment, and the work site is. I'm just having a look back at my notes. Currently reached as far as the small town of Garback. They're about halfway, I believe. So that's 7-ish. Yeah, they're about 7 kilometers north of Vannis. So you still got about 6.5, 7K of track between where the body is and the town.
So we have to probably use the train to transport it as fast as we possibly can.
I
That would be
wonder
the
if
quickest way.
we were to hustle to the site now, we might be able to catch the train with the captured women on its way to Vannes.
Yeah, you
rather
could
than
easily intercept that.
We'll take
I
the
don't-
train. Yeah, we'll take the train to the location, have them stop. We do our thing.
do we want everyone involved to know exactly what we're doing?
No.
I think we
And
want to
then-
get there because they're going north to camp. If we go directly to the site, we can possibly dig up the remains and bundle them. Perhaps the father can even baptize the remains of Rasmus before the train gets down to us, and we can keep things mum.
Well, we have another problem at the other end of that is how do we bury them on sacred ground without causing a great stir? I mean, we can't break into the church ground and dig up the soil in the middle of the. We don't even have a full night of darkness.
We have time. We can set this up. We could do this smoothly.
If there is an old cemetery anywhere about, an old chapel, an old.
Well, didn't you mention that old estate might have a crypt?
That would be closer, but it's still going to be about a kilometer or two through the woods on the eastern side of the track. So it's closer in terms of distance, but you've got no train to get you there quickly.
We could travel a couple of kilometers, in an hour or two if we were walking?
Mm-hmm. Although you know that some nice, big, strong security guards only managed half a kilometer each with the myling on their back.
Oh, I just want the bones of the.
Yeah, we just want the bones, but I think
we don't want the myling to
too.
chase us.
But we'll have the stag's horn that we might be able to break the mind control. But that's always, sometimes it never, it might not work. Or
the other problem is that if we get to Venice and people start asking questions, then
right.
I think it would be Safer for us to go to Venice, but safer for the poor woman to go to the chapel out in the wilderness.
Even Venice
Yes,
will
you're
be
right.
a bunch of people showing up with the dead remains of a baby.
I mean, I think we're talking about a very small parcel, Father.
But still, we will have to enter the cemetery. We'll have
How do you
to
get it buried? Yeah.
do your rites and you know,
So do we think
draw.
the thing can attack it in broad daylight? If we dug it up at 10 in the morning, the sun
You run,
blazing down?
you run the risk of this thing appearing at any time when you disturb its resting place.
We'll make it angry. So we need to hustle to where we're going, and we need to know exactly where we're going. So if we are taking it to the crypt or the mansion, the estate, we need to know that path and have it marked and ready to go. Know where we're going to put it into ground, the consecrated ground. Have that
I
all
also
prepared.
I also think that one's far less likely that we're going to be observed by anyone.
That's true,
Right.
certainly.
We
Especially if you're giving some mechanical things to consider here. Especially if you're seemingly siding with Marie and that you're trying to cover this up and kind of sweep it under the rug for her. Then going to the crypt at the estate would be the much better option, because that place is going to be completely abandoned by this point, so no one will ever know that anything was ever there.
Right.
The problem you're going to face is the myling itself turning up and trying to stop you from doing it, especially if you're doing something that's counter towards what it wants. The way that you would be able to quite literally get it off your back in that respect, if the staghorn doesn't work, you can, even though combat is not an effective method of dealing with a spirit permanently, it is enough to make it discorporeate. So if you would be able to basically beat it down, then you could potentially, that could buy you enough time to then run through the trees with the remains to get to the crypt and bury it before it manages to reform.
And is there any benefit to having the mother, or should the mother completely be away from this, or would it attack the mother? Would it be drawn to the mother if the mother was? I'm thinking if the mother was at the estate, would it be drawn to the mother if it does appear, and we have the father there at the estate waiting?
Again, depends on what it wants. Yeah, it depends on what it wants. If it's feeling anger towards the mother, then that might be a red flag to a bull. The fact that the father has already died before the child was born, probably there's no connection there, as far as there's no emotional connection anyway.
Would you all like me to try to do some automatic writing to see if I could determine what this myling's wishes are?
Not a bad idea.
You could try. Perhaps we should do that when we get to the grave, but you could try it now. Your intention is you know what you want to contact.
Certainly give me the roll if you wish, yes.
Okay. What am I rolling for that?
Right, let me go back to the write-up.
Because it doesn't
use inspiration to
Yeah,
gain clues.
I've definitely got writing utensils and paper.
Yeah.
It is in my inventory.
Yeah, the base skill is inspiration. So if you have anything that gives you a bonus equipment that gives you inspiration bonuses, then you can definitely cash those in.
Okay. I don't have any specific equipment for inspiration bonus.
You've got the writing tools, though. I'll give you those at the very least.
Okay. And that gives me a +1.
Mine says it gives me a bonus in investigation.
Yeah.
So I need another die. So that's 9 dice. So hopefully, I mean, the worst that could happen is I get possessed, you know.
You say that before you roll.
Yeah.
3 successes.
Wow.
No risk of possession there.
Yeah.
Right. what 3 words would it definitely write down? So you kind of sit down comfortably, bring out your pad, put the pen to the pad, and you sit back and you just let the sounds of the wind rush into your ears and just attune yourself to the world. Everyone else sees Helena's eyes just go roll back in her head. And this shaking hand, not realizing that you're writing, will start sketching out this jagged set of letters across the page. And yeah, the three main words that it comes up with are justice, mother, and pay.
Yep. It's bent on
Attack.
making its mother pay. Yep.
Well, I think that she's paid just by having to exist with this, but
The infant does not.
vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Yeah, just because that's what the poor revenant monster wants.
Well,
And
I'm
that
saying
thing,
that
by
it
the way,
shouldn't
is
get it.
yeah. Well, I know. I understand the meaning of the quotation. I'm just wondering, practically speaking, whether whether we're dooming more. We've lost 4 innocent men to her crime, in addition to the infant, and we don't want any of us to be crushed that way. That looks like a bad way to go. So I'm against appeasing the thing, but we have to keep in mind that there are risks.
Yeah, I think if we set it up right, if it does want this vengeance on its mother, I think we could get it to move along quite fast. And well, but in a different direction. I mean, we want to bury the bone, so it might be a distraction. So, I don't know. If we want to put the mother
I don't
arms
think we
away,
should. I think we should get the bones and go as quickly as we can to the crypt and bury them.
I was just going to say, if the whole point was to keep the mother from being in danger, I think putting her near a giant demon would not be conducive to that.
not and keeping her out of the justice systems, society's law. But again, the infants, I still
Well,
think she should.
gentlemen, I should remind us also that this is what we are here for. We have taken risks before. We have fought off the devil, and we fought off that revenant or whatever it was that was still in our place. We have faced danger before. There are 5 of us. We can certainly prevail. If Valentina, you know of any additional wards or things we can use against it harming us, maybe just don't let it climb on your back.
Well, as long as we can keep it from, controlling someone.
Plug our ears with wax like Odysseus. After all of this eerie stuff, I'm sort of antsy and impatient. Clint, why don't we map a trail from the abandoned crypt to the rail line before going back to camp, just to have that out of the way and make sure there are no obstacles we don't anticipate?
Certainly. And we also have some sticks of dynamite if we want to do anything with those.
Yes, you might be able to discorporate the thing.
If anything would, that would.
Yeah.
Dynamite is pretty well, I was gonna say explosive, effective at dealing with most physical things.
Yeah, it's a helpful resource. Do you know anything about have you used explosives like that before, Franz?
Well, I've used explosives, but I can't say I've used dynamite before. This is all very newfangled.
I imagine if we set the clock to, I mean, she has some prepared with timers attached. We can just set it for 1 minute from now and then run away.
Well, they had back in the army, they had or the navy, they had bombs that you could throw. It's just a bigger bomb.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, to give you an idea of what you're looking at for mechanically for using this, if you want to throw the stick of dynamite, it's going to be ranged combat to do that. The blast power on a stick of dynamite is 8, so this does 8d6 of damage. Yeah. It would also affect. Technically, it can affect something in an adjacent zone, but if you're throwing it far enough, I'd say that you don't have to worry about the adjacent rule there. So yeah, it's doing 8 dice of damage.
I
And
could
my
discorporate a bear.
Yeah, yeah. So
I could
physical problems generally go away.
can I tie it to an arrow?
Do you have an
Ooh.
arrow?
I have a bow. I bought I brought a bow. And
I would, yeah, I
pretty-
think that is definitely possible.
I'm decent with it, so I could at least shoot a few.
Just the impact of the dynamite hitting the object might be enough to set it off.
It's a very, very, very short fuse. And pray you don't miss.
I mean, that's the only thing it's all I can do with it.
I believe that dynamite can be set off by impacting. So
It can be, yeah.
yeah,
That
it's got
wonderful stable.
nitroglycerin inside of it.
Just give it a good shake before you fire it.
It's like a glow stick. You shake it and crack it.
So is that our plan?
Yeah. I'm fairly good with dynamite myself then.
There you go. Franz can carry it.
Right, so everyone's at the back, huddled behind each other, while Franz is about 20 foot forward from everyone else, carrying this crate. Going,
Why we bring the big muscular lug with us.
yeah. Oh, so they've all gone back to the campsite to take the insane socialist, communist, conspirator, terrorist, etc. With them, much to Franz's.
Exactly. They disrespected the king.
Right.
We'll just
So
wait for Franz and Erickson to come back. You're going to mark the path.
Yeah, so you can do that even if you just wanted to do it on the map, because Franz, you brought your map from the map room. So you have a good view of the area. You can easily get a path either physically trodden out or knowing on the map exactly where to go already. So again, that you've got that angle covered. I'm not gonna put any unnecessary barriers in your way.
I would want to physically do it just to check if there is, in fact, a crypt in the old estate.
Yeah, in which case you take the walk out there, and then while everyone else is prepping a little way away from the body. Yeah, there is an old trail beating through the woods that you can get up there, so you can then get to the estate before you catch one of the roads through the woodland. And there is a small chapel that's off the main body. The main estate itself is a large rectangular building. In very basic sense, it's a long rectangular building with a bit that then juts out the back of it. So from above, it looks like a very truncated letter T. And round the back, there is this very basic crypt within what looks like a small wall that's about 2 or 3 foot tall, with an old rusted gate that's long since fallen on one side. That opens through a small plot of land surrounding the crypt, and then you've got the actual building itself in the middle of this little plot. Inside, there are what looks to be a stone sarcophagus as such in the middle of the room, and also a couple of extra slots on the walls where other caskets would have been put into. So you've got options whether you want to bury it in the grounds outside within the walls of the area that's been consecrated, or inside, either putting it inside the sarcophagus or putting it inside one of the caskets in the actual building itself. You've got options.
Yeah.
And we've determined that in concordance with the map, there isn't just a ravine that's opened up between the rail line and this estate. We can blaze a few trees on the way.
Yep, no bridges that have conveniently collapsed in the meantime. Yeah, no great big gaps in the earth. It's just a dirt track that goes through until you meet the road, and then you can go straight up there. So it's a bit of hiking to get there, but it's nothing that's insurmountable.
Good.
But apart from if you've got a myling on your back, then that might be fatal. But
well, and I have all of my accoutrements, my holy water and my silver cross, and all of those things.
The power of the Lord compels you.
Power of the Lord.
Bring a shovel. Easy enough.
Now,
a shovel.
Start digging with our hands.
Who would have
Shovel
thought
and
you needed that? Yeah.
a little, container of some kind.
Yeah.
That
They should have something at the camp to.
I'll
Got
just
that basket
point
with
to
all
the
that pottery.
dynamite box.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so you can head to where the body was, not difficult, and as was previously described by your journalist Agni, yeah, there's this tree about 3 trees back from where they had cut down to form the new tree line. This nice green gap between the tree line and the railway in the middle of the clearing. I'd say 3 trees back from that. Like any other tree around here, it looks exactly like all the others, apart from that where the roots go down into the ground, there is this little triangular patch of green, which in this drought should not be here.
I will say prayers as we disinter.
Yeah, I'll dig.
Okay, you start going through what little bit of soft earth there is here because it's still got the nutrients of what's underneath. And about 3 feet down, you come across what, first of all, you kind of dig into, it feels like cloth, and then slowly moving it aside, there is this old Hessian sack that when you pull it up, it's blackish with a stain. It's not originally black, but it was originally just a regular Hessian sack, but there is this dark black stain over the top of it. Do you open it up, or do you?
I think it's the least we disturb it, the better. I don't need to know how she did it particularly.
Okay.
So if you've got that basket ready, we'll just put it in with some of the soil it started with.
Yeah, in which case you lift the thing out wholesale. As you pull it up, you probably have to tuck the legs into the bottom. It seems like the bag had been placed over the head, so it wasn't. So the feet were sticking out the bottom. As you pull the bag out, you could push the baby up into the bag. But yeah, the feet don't look as though they've been particularly damaged much. But other than the fact that the body has been down here for a number of months at this point, because she killed the child back in December of last year, and it's now June this year, so it's been down there about 6 months. So yeah, decomposition obviously has occurred. It's not skeletal. There is still some almost mummified remains of what's left.
Usually takes about 3 years to completely rot away.
Yeah.
Poor
There's
child.
still some juicy bits. And as indeed you push the remains of the body into the sack and then lift it from the ground, you all hear this sound of rustling through the undergrowth on the other side of the tree.
Quickly.
And this almost, not mewing sound, that's wrong, but almost the sound of a child sniffling and crying. And this clawed hand reaches over the edge of the the edge of the tree, the edge of the root, followed by this almighty black wing that extends out beyond it as this bulbous head rolls into view. This almost alien-like oval black eye that looks at you all and blinks. This thing is monstrous. This swollen giant head with these oval almond-like eyes that are completely jet black, veins of black running through its evidently very dead skin, this withered body that extends out to almost two vestigial legs that it drags along on the floor behind it, two large, say, raven-like jet black feathered wings that extend out either side, its back completely covered in feathers, and these two really long, almost like metal bar-like limbs ending in claws that it uses to drag itself along with. I'll have fear checks from everyone, please. And because this is one of the nastiest creatures in the game, you need 2 successes to be able to withstand the fear check on this.
I'm sorry, how do we do them again?
Your choice of logic or empathy. You're going to add 1 dice if you've got the brave talent, a further 2 dice if you've got safety in numbers, and then because you've got other members of the society with you, you get another 3 dice on top of that.
We have to get 2.
Your target's 2.
All
2
right.
total or 2 each?
2 total, or 2 each, rather, that is, yeah. So a total of 2, but it's individually you need them.
I got 1.
2.
Okay, so the father's fine.
I got it.
1.
8 dice, no successes.
Oh, ouch. Okay, well, we'll get down to gambling in a second. So father's fine, Helena's fine.
Let God arise, let his enemies be scattered.
I don't know. I got 3 1s and no successes.
Oh, okay. So Franz isn't doing too good either. And Valentina?
I got 1 success.
Okay. Right. For Valentina, Franz, and Ericsson, this is the point where you can choose to gamble or cut your losses. You look at the difficulty level, so in this case 2, and then compare against how many successes you've got. The difference is how many mental conditions you take.
Oh.
So
Okay.
for Valentina, you would take 1 condition at this point,
Yeah.
but you would still roll a d6 and then work out whether you're going to fight, flee, or remain or freeze in terror. Now, obviously, with Franz and Franz and Oscar, that could, if you've got mental conditions already, that could tick you closer to being broken, which is not a place you want to be. So, and also, you may not want to be out of the battle for 1d6 rounds. You can gamble by saying, I'll take a condition now and then push the roll to re-roll and then hope you get 2 successes. But if you're still in the position by the end of that gamble and you haven't picked up those two successes, you're going to take the condition for re-rolling and however many you fell short on the fear check. So you could potentially, if you roll no successes again, you're going to take 3 conditions rather than 2.
And in fact, I have not been rolling my bone dice, and I have 2 mental conditions coming into this. I was in such a hurry.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough choice.
Are you sleeping
So,
Okay.
So going around, working out who wants to do what. Valentina, do you want to gamble? Because you're going to take 1
No.
condition anyway. So
I'm going to take the 1 condition and
okay,
for 3 rounds.
got it. So you're freaking out. We'll decide how you freak out in a sec, but at least for 3 rounds, you're all set. Franz, what do you want to do? I say you're the one, Franz, with the crate of dynamite, just to re-emphasize that point. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's better to go with the father on this one and not gamble. Because if I did gamble and I lost, I would be broken. I would have all 4 conditions.
Yeah, not good place. Okay, so you're just going to freak out. Okay, so roll me a d6 to work out how many rounds that will be, and then we'll come back to describing how you're going to freak out in a minute. And Oscar.
I think I have to add hopeless to angry and frightened and roll 8 dice looking for 2 sixes.
May the odds be in your favor. You roll them.
Then they're just slightly. 3 sixes.
Oh,
And
there you go,
nothing
you
below
see.
4.
Oh. Who could have asked for better? There you go. You are steeled. You grit your teeth, and you managed to hold on. So just under half the party freaking out,
Wow.
rather than just over half. Right. And on that note, we'll descend into initiative. So, cards.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Forgot about the cards.
Rather than say just call shuffle and stop, I've shuffled them up. Rather pick a number between 1 and 10. That's how many cards. Well, basically, which card I'll draw off the top.
3. For
Okay,
the
so
Holy Trinity.
3. So third card down is a 1. You're going first. Yep. All right. Going now decks down the order. Helena, number between 1 and 9, please.
5.
Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And other end of the scale, 9 for you.
Oh,
so not
that
quite the
is-
bottom, but a little bit down there.
that is fine.
Right. Valentina, between 1 and 8, please.
Go with 1.
Oh, right off the top. 8. Yeah. So a little bit behind. Franz. So number between 1 and 7, please.
Lucky number 7.
Bottom one. 10. You're at the bottom of the round.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well, you say you
Language.
Can get to move. Yeah. You can
Sorry,
get to move
I was
these.
gambling and I swore.
Oh. You can get to move these around, so don't worry too much. And then Oscar, between 1 and 6, please.
I'll take the second.
Right, second, that is 7. So 7, 8, 9, and 10, and a 1. So okay, that's a odd spread. And then for one that's left for the myling, I have my card to represent her, or in this case him. Goes on a 5. So, before combat kicks off, do any of you 5 want to swap your numbers around?
I see no reason to go any later because I want to start hustling away with these remains.
I see that all my friends are quite frightened, and it seems to me that I need to be the one to step forward and confront the thing first. So
I agree.
I will not be unbrave. You just want me dead.
Oh,
Hey, maybe
Preach.
the Lord could help us.
You never
If
know.
I
You
can
also
distract it.
remember, if you do get particularly good on your rolls, you could potentially steal cards, steal its initiative card. So there is
What-
always that option.
What are we going to be rolling for this, by the way?
Depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
Right. Well, first off, is you're up. Well, first off, it is you, the good father. What do you want to do?
Well, I step forward with my silver cross and I hold it up and I say the prayers for demon banishment, we'll call it. Let God arise, let his enemies be scattered, let those that hate him flee from before his face. As smoke vanishes, so let them vanish. As wax melts before the fire, so let them, etc., etc.
Don't forget to baptize it.
Well, this is a demon. This is obviously
This is not the baby.
All right. Give me an inspiration roll then.
Inspiration. Inspiration is 2 empathy is 4. That's 6 dice. Uh, 1 6.
Okay. I'm going to treat that as being that you effectively have one level of resistance or one level of armor against its attack against its next attack on you.
Okay.
So you would roll if assuming it hits you, you would roll a d6 in response to that, and if you get a success, that will cancel off any damage that it up to potentially 1 damage that it could do against you.
Okay.
So you're kind of putting up a level of faith armor between you and it.
Okay.
And then number 5 next up is the myling. All right. This thing starts, you can hear it weeping, you can hear it crying as it starts to come forward, and it's coming for Oscar because Oscar's the one that's carrying the remains. And out of this burbling mouth, you can just you you carry me
To rest.
No, but my mother, justice, justice. And this thing starts. You can see that it starts to move an arm quite slowly, as the other one rushes forward, almost as if it uses one arm as a distraction. The other one tries to knock the remains out of your hand. So it's going to try and, as it says, knock the remains away from you because it doesn't want you to take it away. So that is might or strength. So it's body control. So that's 7 dice.
It's going for itself and not my head first.
That's true. Yeah. Right. It does 1 success. So it's going to try to hit your hand and try to knock it away. That is 2 damage that it inflicts as base. Have you got any armor?
I don't. No, I don't have any armor.
Okay, so that will be two physical conditions that you take.
Wounded and battered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing has one hell of a kick or one hell of a raking claw. So as this hits your hand, you have this gash run down the back of your hand and down your arm. That stings to hell. Blood starts flowing, and the body drops down onto the floor. Obviously, the myling itself is still here.
Yeah,
Next up, 7. Back to
that's
Oscar.
me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. I picked up a crowbar. I'm gonna wing it at one of those big black eyes so to buy myself some time before I scoop up the corpse and start running.
Okay. Because
Um,
you're doing something a bit different than what the father did. Because the father didn't attack this thing. The father put up this, barrier.
right.
This is one of its other little powers. Whimper.
Uh-oh.
Attackers must pass an observation test in order to attack and damage it. So
Okay.
once you come forward, you're basically confronted with this weeping, crying baby.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, give me an observation roll to see if you can actually bring yourself to smack this thing.
5 dice, and it was the reds that gave me those 6s, so I'm going to go to the blacks because, gambler logic. 1 6.
Okay, that's all you need. You managed to get there. You're able to steer yourself enough to go, no, kill the baby. Now you can make your attack roll. So this will be close combat. Will be with a weapon.
Combat is 2 on Physica 5. Six, yeah, 2.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
I now roll my protection, otherwise known as armor, to see whether I can cancel any of that out. And I got one. I have one, so I reduce that down by one. So I do take a single condition, which, yeah, it doesn't like you very much. Yeah, you hit. This thing has some pretty tough skin and all those feathers going along its back. Yeah, you realize how physically tough this thing is. You maybe not underestimating this thing, but suddenly realizing what kind of tough opponent you're up against. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
that's
mostly looking for time. Yeah. So you've all seen me hit the infant with a crowbar and it go, eh.
yeah, yeah. It kind of is maybe a little bit spiteful against you now. Right, next up on 8, Valentina.
I'm gonna grab the remains and just take off running.
Okay, pick up and run.
Yep.
Doing Jesse Owens' impression a good few decades early. Nothing's going to stop you there. It's on the floor, so grab and
Yep.
Roadrunner heads off. That will definitely attract the myling next round. Right, and Helen, Helena's next on 9.
Okay. So I've seen Valentina run away, and I think what I'm gonna do is actually run after her. And I'm hopeful that way if she runs into trouble, she can just hot potato the remains to me, and we'll just keep shuffling them back and forth between ourselves.
Toss it over like a rugby ball.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Pass the baby. Like back and forth.
Yeah.
Right, and Fran's at the bottom of the round. Oh, yes, good point. How are you? We got forgetting Valentina and Fran's actually all wigging out. So,
Oh yes.
so actually, Valentina, are you in a fit state to pick up? Because you said 3 rounds, was it, to pick up the body?
Right. So if I forgot. I could take the fighting or the angry.
It's more you've got 3 options as to how you freak out. So you can either attack the thing, freeze, or run away.
Probably running away then. I guess without the remains, maybe Helena can grab it then.
You can run.
Okay.
And then, yeah, does Helena want to pick him up and kind of continue that plan just to slightly in reverse?
Yeah, I'll given that I'll pick up the remains and I'll take off with it.
Gotcha. Yeah. You are heading in the same direction as Valentina, but you're the one with the baby.
Okay.
Right. And then,
I like that.
right. And then Fran's also wigging out on a 10. How do you wish to go crazy?
Dynamite-based insanity.
Boom. Okay. You are right on top of it, but hey, you're crazy.
Do I have to pass the observation test if I'm crazy?
That's a good question. I'd say no, because you're nuts. So
Perfect, because my observation is terrible.
right. Everyone else is going to be fairly close to this. So yeah, this is going to be a bit more
but we're
problematic.
aware of what he.
Yeah. You also do have a fast action left, so if people want to dive the hell out of the way, then that would potentially help.
Yeah.
So, Franz, give me a ranged combat roll to see if you can throw the dynamite in your crazy state directly at the myling and hopefully hit it.
All right. So that is what, precision?
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So
it's precision and ranged combat.
And ranged. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Only one success.
One is all you need to do 8 damage. So that's that bit. For everyone else, if you want to try and dodge the hell out of the way, you can give me agility rolls to be able to try and get away from the blast.
Did Helena and Valentina get away? Did we?
Valentina and Helena, you boogied out of there. You run like hell. So you two are fine for this bit, but it's everyone else who was kind of in the immediate vicinity. All right, the father's up close. This might
I was
hurt.
pretty close. Yeah.
I luckily put 1 point in agility before this game because otherwise, I mean, I don't know where the 6 came from, but I'm glad I had 7 dice.
Good. Oh, that is one thing actually I slightly rewind because this is one thing I did forget. It's been a while since I've done Vaesen combat, so my bad. Oscar, when the thing tried to swipe at you, would you have tried to either dodge or sorry, are you going to take it or are you going to save your dodge for later in the round?
Well,
Like now.
yes, for narrative continuity / dynamite, and because it did kind of fool me a little bit with that movement and slash, I'm going to take the initial hit.
Gotcha. Okay. So you can do the agility roll now, but you do suffer the minus dice for the condition that you got, 2 conditions you got inflicted by getting hit by it.
Right. Oh, so that means I have 2 fewer dice.
Yes, because you've got physical conditions for the damage you took.
Right. I didn't take that into account, so I've only got 5 to get away. 6.
Okay, so you got 1 success.
5. Yes.
Right. Franz, roll 8d6.
Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I got 2 successes, or 2 6s.
That could have been a hell of a lot worse. Right. So, Oscar, you're going to take 1 because your 1 success cancels out one of those 2 successes for you.
Right.
Right. Helena, Valentina, you've boogied out of there. You're not a problem. Father, take 2 physical conditions as you are blasted back by the explosion.
Okay.
And the myling will roll its full protection to see how much of it can get rid of. Also 1. So it takes 1. That means it's now getting angry. It's going to aggressive, but it still gets hurt. So yeah, there is an almighty boom, and people are still left standing. This is a good thing. And with that, at the end of the round, we cycle back to the top. So does anyone want to change initiative orders at this point? Like swap cards between
we
you?
should give
Yeah.
Helena number 1.
This is open
And
to you. So
can we do that even though we've run apart?
you're still within a close enough area because the others are only going to be 1 zone adjacent to you.
I kind of think I would like to give Franz my number 1. Because if he can get another bomb in there.
You're awful close still.
Fair enough.
I've been blown out of the range.
I'm at 3 physical and 3 mental losses, so I'm kind of useless. So if somebody wants to move up to 7, I don't object because I'm going to be crawling away and hoping that it's chasing the remains. There's not a lot else I can do.
Gonna attack
Actually-
Helena, so
Helena, where are you in this? So what's your number?
9.
I will give Helena mine so that she can go before the myling.
Okay, so 9 and 1 get swapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Anyone
take
else
the
wanting to
myling.
move stuff around?
My only idea, other than giving up the 7, is to move away from Helena in hopes of confusing the thing. But again, I'm almost out of the combat.
I mean, it's going before all of us anyway. So.
Right.
the way
Except
we
for
picked.
Helena now.
Yeah, except for Helena. Until someone can get enough successes to potentially steal the card away, but that's a different issue. Right, so if we're all set then, Helena, you're up first.
Okay. My plan is to keep going.
You're
Man.
carrying it under your arm, going hut, 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 and
Yeah.
running like hell.
Yes.
Yep, that will put you 2 zones away. So that's a fair old distance. That normally would be a problem. Except, good old myling, one extra fast action that can be used for movement. Its first action to go to one zone away. Second action to go to second zone away. It's right on top of you. Do you wish to try and dodge out of the way of this, or do you want to basically sit there and take it? Basically, it's whether it uses your fast action to be able to dodge later in the round.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to, because it's gonna hit me is what it's gonna do, right?
It's trying to basically rake you with its claws. Yeah.
Got it.
There might also be a dynamite coming your way.
Yeah.
Might be.
Might.
Yeah, I think it. I'm gonna wait for the dynamite and do my dodge at that point.
Okay, so
We'll see
you're
how
just
this
gonna
goes.
see how much it does to you at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Lots and lots and lots of 4s, not a 6 in sight. So
Awesome.
this thing,
Yay.
you can feel
Bobbing and weaving.
You can
Keep
feel
it
the
going.
wind of the claws.
Keep going.
Right, that was its very ineffectual attack. So next down is Oscar on 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna hug Hulda and try to catch my breath, and I'm gonna start looking for my little pouch of dice, because I know I need something.
And you can shake those as your action this turn, which
Yeah,
will then remove 2 conditions. They can be physical, so that can, or mental, your choice, or split in between.
I'm gonna take one off each. I don't know what's coming.
There you go. Seems a good choice. All right. 8 next. So that's Valentina. This
I'm
thing
still
just
running.
swooped, this thing
Right.
swooped up behind you, but you're going, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just
be
run
running
on
for
up.
the next round too. So
Yep. Hey, it's keeping you alive so far. 9, the Father Victor.
Um, what I'm now running after them, continuing to say prayers and throw holy water in the hopes that it's going to do something.
Okay. I'll say not problem. The issue you have here, holy water is only really good at immediate close range within the same zone. So if you want to use your main slow action to be able to get one zone further forward, you can do that. You can
Okay.
elect to use your fast action to move right up close to it, which would then be also sacrificing your dodge for later on in the round. But then it would mean you're right on top of it. But you wouldn't be able to use the holy water in the same round because you already would have used both of your actions to get close enough to it.
So I'm going to use my slow action just to get into the same zone.
Okay.
And then, but I'm saying prayers all the while. So whatever that means.
That would. So if you use your slow action, you'll be one zone behind it.
Okay.
So okay, you're there.
Yeah.
And then boom boom Franz on 10. Are you rinsing and repeating again?
Yep, for at least 2 more rounds.
All right. Being somewhat crazy, being still crazy, you at least know the capability of your physical capabilities of being able to throw this thing. You rush forward carrying the bundle of dynamite and then throw with the other hand. So you've used up your slow action you've used up your fast action moving forward, and now it's your slow action to throw. Yep, give me a range combat.
All right. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 8. And we got 1 success.
Okay, that's another 8d6 coming at folks then. Um, although no one, apart from Helena, is right on top of it because Valentina ran forward, and the father only came one zone back still, so pretty much where you're throwing it from. Helena, would you like to cash in your option to dodge at this point?
I would very much like to do that.
Right, agility, please.
Okay, so 3, 4, 5. Okay. No.
Hands, roll me that dice. Roll me those 8d6.
Franz, if you kill me, I'm coming back to haunt you. Just so you know.
You got nothing to worry about.
You'll hear
Zero.
nothing but communism in your ears as you sleep.
Oh, well,
Communist
my
manifesto.
sleeps will remain undisturbed as I got 0 successes out of 8d6.
Wow.
Evidently, it's a dud. You throw the stick, it lands right at its feet, and then just fizzles as there's a little pillar of smoke that comes out, and nothing happens with that stick. All right, that's the end of second round. Round 3. Anyone else like to swap cards? Nope, sounds like we're all good. So, Helena's first on 1. The gods have smiled on you, haven't they? That stick was not meant for you.
Hmm.
Yep, so what would you like to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's if I can, I'm just gonna kind of stick with the plan and try to cut and run.
Pick up body again, run.
Yep,
Okay, again with the hut.
off I
No
go.
problem. Yep, you're booking it out of there. The myling's going to come for you again because hey, you have the body. So, did you want to try and dodge the myling, or do you want to save your dodge for later?
I'm gonna save my dodge for later, just
Okay.
because maybe Franz will be more successful next time.
All right. Let's see how we do now. In fact, I'm aggressive. I get 1 extra dice.
No.
When you go down its condition track, you add and subtract dice depending on what level we're at. At aggressive, I get 1 extra dice. Right. Ooh. Okay.
I don't like that sound.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
don't
going to check
either.
my options now. This is 4, so it's
Helena, take off your high heels.
yeah. Okay, I have 2 successes. So with my first one, I'm going to cash it in for 2 physical conditions on you.
Oh, geez.
The second one, I'm going to steal your initiative card. So it goes on 1.
Oh, fuck.
So and then you're down to 5.
I'm
I'm
all of
5.
my powers have just bled away because
Oh well.
Okay.
Right, so how does that put you on physical condition wise?
That gives me 2.
Okay, so you got a while before you're broken yet, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's enough for its action. 7. So Oscar, you're up next.
Let's see if we can catch up with them. I'm so far behind, I'm gonna take both moves to just engage in pursuit.
Okay, so you're running up behind them, no problem.
Yeah, hold at my side.
All right, and then 8 is next, so that's Valentina.
Am I at the crypt yet?
You're probably about 1 3/4 kilometers left to go.
1 3/4 kilometers. Oh my
Yeah, so it's about 2. It was about 2K
I know.
away
It's
from the
good.
body.
It's going to take us forever.
Yeah.
I'm running, but this is my last round. I just have to run.
Gotcha. No worries. Right. Father at this point on 9.
I'm still trying to catch up. So,
You can use your fast action again to move forward, or you can just lose your slow action to then keep your fast action in reserve.
Well, I see the difficulty that Helena is having. How close am I to Franz?
You are.
Am I in the same
Oh,
zone?
Franz ran up, so he came up to you. So you're kind of about level at this point.
Can I grab a stick of his dynamite and also try to throw it?
Yeah, you can pick up a stick and certainly try. If you're trying to hurt the thing, give me an observation roll. See if you can actually hurt the thing.
Observation.
Can you bring yourself to throw the stick?
Oh, that's right. Oh, it gives me 8 dice to roll. So
you saw what happened with the
I know it's demon when I hear it, see it. I got 5 6s.
You are more than happy at trying to kill a baby. So
a baby devil.
Yeah, give me a range combat roll then. Oh yeah, range combat. Yeah.
I don't have it, but I got precision. So let's see. Give me 3. 1.
Okay, so that again is enough to land it close by. So, Helena is the one that again is right up close and personal. Do you want to dodge the dynamite?
Yes, please.
Like, give me that agility roll.
Okay. Oh, wait. I have to roll less dice this time.
Yeah, because of the physical conditions.
I got a success though.
Okay, that is enough to get you out of the way of the blast. That is one thing I suddenly was thinking of. Probably rewind a little bit for Oscar because you got hit by the and none of the father got 0 successes anyway. Oscar, you get 1 physical condition back because I realize it's not the explode. You don't roll against agility against the damage. You roll it against the attack roll. So, Helena, you do dive out of the way of the explosion.
Okay.
And you don't have because it's those successes that you're rolling against. And now the father can roll 8d6 in damage dice against the myling.
Come on, give me some 6s.
Big numbers, big numbers.
1.
Okay, I will roll my 4 protection to see if I can counter any of that. And I also have 1, so it's got some singed feathers, but it's.
I was trying really hard not to hit Helena, so I kind of.
Yeah, it's damn those PCs for getting in the way. Right, and then 10 also Mr. Dynamite at the bottom of the round.
I'm not trying hard not to hit Helena, so.
Fuck. Oh.
You don't worry about communism in your ear for eternity.
Exactly. 3 6s. It might teach me a thing or two.
Okay. I'll be generous and say that because Helena's already leapt out of the way of the previous blast, that you're not going to be you are in the adjoining zone, so you don't have to worry. Now, the additional successes, do you want to plug them into extra damage?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 10 dice you can roll then.
Perfect.
A boom.
All right. Oh, that's only 1.
God, the dice really hate you tonight.
You'll run up and jam one in its mouth.
Yeah, we're throwing all this dynamite and it just pop, pop.
Well,
pop.
once I regain my sanity, we'll see what happens.
Right. And I roll 1 on protection, so it doesn't even take that one hit. It's one
All right.
tough beastie.
Has that been 4 rounds? Is that 4 rounds or just 3?
That's
That was
3.
All right, so I have 1 more.
Because that's the end of Valentina's 3rd round. Right. Top of round 4. Anyone want to swap cards? Bear in mind the myling goes first.
Can we swap it with the myling?
I was gonna
Okay,
say.
if you can steal it.
I could have done that, but I decided not to.
I want to switch with Franz, so that at least he gets to go before me.
Sure.
And I'm farthest to the back, so if anybody wants 7, it's not going to matter. I don't have any ranged weapons, so
Yeah, I'm right behind you with 8, so it doesn't really. We're 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 7, 8, 9. So
status quo then.
Okay. All right. Myling is going to go for the one that keeps throwing dynamite at it. So swoops back and goes for Franz.
cool.
You're somewhat crazy still, so I'm not going to give you the option really for. Well, I will steady can get it. Do you want to use your action to dodge now, or do you want to leave it for later?
Can I use my action to blow myself up?
That would technically be a slow action because it does count as an attack.
All right, then I'll dodge then.
Okay, so that will be using your agility. And I have +1 dice still from being aggressive. Okay.
Okay, so agility. Okay, I only have 4. Yeah, nothing.
Okay, I have 1 success. So that is 2 physical conditions coming at you.
All right.
Where does that put you?
It puts me just at 2. I had none before.
Oh, okay, you're still fine then for the minute. All right, that's its action on 1. 5 is then Helena.
Okay. I'm gonna pick up the baby, and off I go again.
Baby rugby continues. All right,
Yeah.
so that puts you a good couple of zones away from it. 7, Oscar.
So since it's gone back to attack France and I was coming up from behind, I might be in range.
You can one zone further forward brings you right on top of it. Yep.
All right. I mean, it's foolish, but I've only got 1 physical condition right now, so I think it's time for another crowbar attack. Do I get does Hulda assist me in these, even if it's not a dog attack? If I mean, it's a +1 for close combat.
Technically, yes, you get the assistance. It's almost like you are trying to outmaneuver your target, so she can provide you with assistance, even though she doesn't do damage herself.
Right. All right, but
So
that's
you still get the additional dice. How many?
Right.
Is it 1 or 2 dice you get from her?
1.
Yeah, you still get the 1 additional.
So my slow action is catching up and my fast action is the attack, or am I poised to attack?
Your fast action, if you want to run up, your fast action is to run up, and then your slow action is to attack.
Okay, I guess that's what's going to happen. So,
right, and you've already passed your test against Whimper, so give me that attack roll.
2 physique. I mean, 5 physique, 2 close combat, +1 crowbar,
And
+1 dog,
Mhm.
+1 distracting silverware,
Sorry about that.
and two successes.
Okay, so that's you do base of 2 for the crowbar, or 1.
1.
Okay, 1 for that. Your extra success. Do you want to steal the initiative card or do more damage?
I'll steal that initiative card.
Okay, 1 to you. Ba-ding. All right, and then I roll my 4 dice to see if I can negate any of those that 1 damage. 1, 1, 1, and 3. That'd be a no.
Nice.
Right, so takes 1 further condition, and we'll get an additional dice on its attack rolls again next turn as it goes up to hateful. Yeah, it really does not like you now. All right, then next up will be 8. So that will be Valentina.
So
hey, at least you don't have to run anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to run and get close to Helena, and we'll just, like the original plan, if we need to, we'll pass it back and forth. So I'm just going to keep up with Helena.
No problem. 9, the father.
No, I switched with Franz.
Did you? Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
missed that bit.
Franz is.
Right, so you're 10. Franz, you're on 9.
All right. I'll just say crazily, wait, you want a name, don't you? You want a name? What about Alfred Nobel, motherfucker? And I'm gonna throw all the dynamite, like, and try to blow him up with all of the dynamite.
You're doing all. You're wanting to use all of the dynamite.
With wild abandon, so I don't care if I blow myself up with it.
Okay, we'll put this then because I was going to go for the next round. You would roll an additional d6 when everyone uses the dynamite to see if it's your last stick. But if you're being crazy enough to tip it all out, then all good. You might get a bonus on damage if it gets to that point.
Perfect.
Give me a reckless abandon, throw shitloads of dynamite at this thing roll.
All right. Okay, we got one success.
Okay, those of you that were close enough, so that's gonna be like Oscar, because you were close enough. You've used your fast action running up, so you haven't got a dodge left. Okay, this might hurt. No one else is close by, right then, because the father hasn't gone yet, and you were further back. Yeah, if you're using all the sticks, is there a rule for how many extra damage it would give? So we'll stick with the 8 for the minute, but then we'll see how many successes you get.
All right. 2 successes.
Okay. So, Oscar, take two physical conditions, but you've already healed one and we got rid of the other one. So where does that put you? Does that put you back on 3?
It does.
Right, so you're not broken yet, so you're still technically in it. And let's see what the myling can do.
That would also put me on 3.
Okay, you're at least again fine for the minute. You're not being unbroken. I do not get any successes on my resistance, so that is 2 physical conditions. 1, 2. Okay, now this thing is looking a bit more hurt. Up until this point, you'd made it angry and progressively more and more and more angry. Now, it's a few of those feathers have been blasted off of its wings and off of its back, and this thing is now on the floor, shaking and bleeding. This thing is, you've really hurt this thing now. It's actually starting to look like it's taken signs of physical damage. So I need to get rid of 2 dice now, rather than add 2 dice.
It only took the transcontinental railroads worth of dynamite.
Yeah.
You say, but you are out of dynamite now. That is the main thing there.
Yes,
Top of the next
that's
round.
the main thing.
No, it's my turn.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yes, 10 on father. Yes.
Okay. So while that's going on, I'm trying to catch up to Helena and Valentina.
Okay.
And
if you are still running, you can sacrifice both your fast and slow to get there. Yeah.
okay.
You're up with them at the front of the pack now.
My intention is to see if on the run I can baptize that dead baby. But if I've just caught up to them. That's all I've managed to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, you would need, if you wanted to baptize it, the main thing is for that really to work, you're going to have to sacrifice your name to it. So baptizing it otherwise won't have much of an effect unless you want to sacrifice your name, because you can't give it another name. You have to give it your name if you want to try and go that route.
But I'd have to give it my real name.
Yes, you would. Yeah. But so that's a whole other option, because say you might be getting close enough to discorporeate this thing as it is anyway.
Right. We'll see.
But you're at least right up front with them, so you can begin prepping and thinking about what you want to do. So then we go to the top of the next round, and then it's Oscar on 1.
Yes, and I'm of 2 minds. I think, as I'm a stealthy person with 2 in stealth and the advantage of stealth, the best thing for me to do right now might be to confuse it rather than do another one little piddling damage to it and then get clawed to pieces. So I'm going to slap Hulda on the butt, tell her to chase the others. And while the thing's still reeling from the explosion, I'm going to slide down some forest litter leaves and find myself a decent rock or tree to hide behind.
Mhm.
And then if I feel I'm out of sight and I hear it moving, I'll try to taunt it a little.
Okay. Right, in
So
which
as
case,
they can get to the place.
gotcha. In which case, roll stealth now to see whether it notices, basically gets an idea of where you've gone.
Oh, but I have 2 mental. Oh dear. All right. Oh, no, I have 3 physical. Oh dear. Precision is. So that's. Oh, what's the stealth advantage? Remind me.
The advantage, so this is one that you selected for your on the train ride coming up here. That gives you an additional 2 dice on that skill as a one-time use.
This is the time. I'm in.
And then -3 off for your physical conditions.
So I got 1
Okay,
out of
it's enough
4,
to
which
put you
is
at least.
lucky.
Yep, it's enough to put you completely out of the way, so it did not see where you went. So it's going to have to actively look for you if it needs to find you when you start taunting it. Right, so that's 1. 5 is next, which also still goes before the myling. So, Helena.
Okay. I'm gonna look over my shoulder and kind of gauge how far I am away
You're
from.
about 4. You're about 4 zones away from this because it flew back to go at Franz. So you have continued going on and on and on and on and on for farther and further forward. This thing will not be able to catch up with you in a round. It would take at least two rounds to catch up with you.
Okay. Valentina is still with me, and the father is with me.
Yes, the 3 of you are up front.
Great. So with the father with me and Valentina, I think we should just keep pushing on
Yeah.
and stick to the plan, basically.
You needed the father up here for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and if we're talking as we're running, I'm telling you, I can baptize it, give it my old name, my original name, my real name.
But we're close to the consecrated ground.
Well, that's then perhaps the last option, but none of you have ever heard my real name, so
Well, I know if you give it your real name, you can't ever use it.
I can't ever. Well, nobody knows my real name. I haven't used my real name in 40 years. Rumpelstiltskin, yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin.
I bet you had to say it out loud. Right. So you continue on. You as a group continue on ahead. So that's 5. 7 being the myling. See, Crazy Man hasn't got any dynamite anymore, so isn't as an immediate threat. I think it's actually good.
Nameless bastard!
It's going to look around and say, who called me that? So that comes under body control, is about the only, because Vaesen have a different, the spirits have a very different rule set for what stats they have in the roll. I think body control is probably the easiest one to see whether it spots you at all, with its whopping -2 dice because of its particular condition it's on. So it looks around. It cannot see where you are. It's going to spend its action trying to find you. Okay, so you can hear this thing flapping around the area trying to find you. You can hear it kind of hissing and snarling and, where are you? Where are you? Well, that's 7. So 8. Valentina, still up front.
Running with Helena.
You're not crazy, but you can still keep on running.
Still running. It worked for me and before, and it works for me now.
True. 9. This would be Yeah, you've used all your dynamite, didn't you? Yeah. So, not so crazy, Franz.
Now I'm observing the baby.
Okay, this thing is flying around, seemingly looking for someone who called it some names from somewhere behind a tree.
Yeah, I'm gonna take out my dual weapons and charge.
Right. Okay. This thing is still in the same zone, so if you want to attack. What is your I was gonna say, what's your chosen method of attack? So are you using firearms or are you using sword?
Well, I have the dual weapons talent, so I can use, I think, both, but I think it might do close combat.
Let's have a quick check on what that one does.
It's if I'm using both of them in close combat.
You would be in close combat if you wanted to, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
When using dual weapons in close combat, you can use extra successes to hit an additional enemy in the same zone. If you use more successes to increase damage, you may choose which target which it deals more. You've only got the one attack. You've only got the one target, so it's not going to be able. You're not going to be able to really cash in the benefit of that because you are doing it on a
Yeah.
single person.
Then I'll
It's only
just shoot
really
it with my pistol.
that works. Right. So range combat in that case.
All right, perfect.
Now, admittedly, you are sane at this point. So if it sounds like you rolled pretty well.
Yes.
Right, keep those successes off to one side because you need to give me an observation check to see if you can actually pull your sane, rational mind now to attack it.
All right. I believe I did do observation in the train over.
Yeah, if you want to cash that in now, that is not a problem.
Yeah, definitely. So observation, I have nothing in that. But I'll get 2 extra, and then it's what, empathy? Empathy.
Yes.
So 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. 2 successes.
You definitely have no problem shooting a baby in the face. So now you can cash in those successes that you had
Yeah,
for your
4
range.
successes on the initial roll.
4.
Yeah.
Right. Well, your first one rather is going to do 2 damage. You've then got 3 other to play with. Do you want to steal its 7? Or do you want to just plug all those into damage?
You know what? Just to clown on it, I'm gonna steal the 7
Okay.
and then do extra damage with the rest.
Okay. So that means that you've got 2 damage from the base gun plus an additional 2 is 4 in total.
Yeah.
There's a chance if I roll 4 6s that I can stop this. Otherwise, you're sending it. Well, I need to get rid of 2 to stop it from going to broken. So I roll 2 6s. So I would have needed 1 more. So your 4, I go down to 2, of which the first one puts it to wounded, the second one puts it to broken. So I would have needed 3 successes to be able to get rid of, to stop it from being taken out completely. So you shoot this thing in the face, and as it does so, you just hear this squawk, and there is an immediate eruption of feathers that just then start, just almost like a cushion or a pillow that's been hit against a solid object. Just there are feathers that scatter into the air and then start to drift down and fall to the ground. And there is no more myling around you.
Nice shot, Franz.
Now,
That felt good.
All right.
killing babies is always fun, yeah. Right, that does give you plenty of time because this thing will not reincorporate until nightfall, which is a good 4 hours
Oh,
away.
perfect.
Nice.
So you are able to get to the estate with plenty of time. So we don't have to, again, there's no barriers in the way here. What is your intention when you get there?
Go to the holy ground, the crypt. I make sure to do this, and I do whatever the last rites are for
Yeah, the
burial.
equivalent thereof.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
as you are stood over this thing making the sign of the cross, there is with slight clouds up above as it's starting to roll in towards later in the day. But those clouds part slightly to allow a shining beam of light to come down from the heavens for the sun that's starting to arc slowly towards the horizon, but enough to illuminate this little patch of ground as the baby is put in the ground to rest. At which point the ground is covered over, and a nice serene calm passes over the whole area.
cool.
We can wrap up into a coda at this point. So you've got a few, not loose ends, but you've got a few things to deal with. So first off, then, when they get Camilla and Dagny back to town, at the minute they're pretty much being sent to the local courthouse for saying you guys are, one being the actual perpetrator and the other being aiding and abetting the person doing the bombing. Are you intervening at all on that front to try and maybe get them, maybe not off the hook, but alleviate the book that gets thrown at them? Or what, are you intervening at all here?
We can say that we hope there's some leniency. They were trying to do good, but I don't know what we could possibly do to. They did what they did.
They knew what they were doing.
Nobody was hurt. Well, nobody was killed.
Killed. No.
Except for the people that were killed by the myling.
I mean, I think I'll intervene on their behalf. After the experience with the myling, I'm feeling a lot more forgiving.
Glad that itchy red carpet is now creeping over you there. Helena's a little bit, you know, because
I knew you had it in you, comrade.
yeah, I knew you could do it. I knew you could really be with the people.
I'm just feeling like, you know what? It's a time of forgiveness.
Are you still
I
insane?
feel bad for the working class of people who had to do horrible things.
Prince took more damage than I thought.
Yeah.
TNT might have been in effect. It's like CTE on my brain.
I will definitely. I'm not bad at manipulating authority figures, at least temporarily. I'll definitely make a statement toward leniency, and specifically note that the guards that went missing were not a result of their actions. So they're not culpable for anything except the property damage. And in fact, maybe Dagny's newspaper can raise money against the property damage. After all, she was selling a lot of papers on the story of the adventure on the Northern Railroad.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in which case, because you're saying that it's not their fault, what are you pinning the missing guards? Where is the blame for that going to go?
The
A bear.
rabid bear that we put down, and we burnt the carcass because, of course, the rabidity, it's dangerous.
And we ourselves battled the bear, and that's why some of us are scuffed up.
Okay.
That's why I'm in the sling.
Blew him up with dynamite.
It was that rabid you had to take it down with a whole crate full of dynamite. I will put that down to a roll then. So this could be this is going to be well after you've had a chance to heal up and wipe off those conditions. So get rid of any condition you've got on the sheet and give me a manipulation roll.
Each of us?
Specifically Oscar, because this is him that's kind of laying this potential roadblock in the way, but it sounds like he might be able to hop, skip, and jump over it.
2 6s.
The authorities buy it, especially when there's reports of, there was a lot of explosions that happened out that way that night. So yeah, they will buy the fact that okay, yeah, they only did property damage, so that is definitely a massive thing that will swing in their favor. The only other thing that's really in the way then is what are you doing, if anything, with um the mother,
Uh, I
Marie?
think that with the consensus was that she had in a way paid for her crimes. She's probably got a very different worldview after meeting
Her
Rasmus.
dead husband. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
And the main thing on that front for me was that I was going to wait at least another week up to Sunday to make sure that we'd succeeded, because knowing that what it wanted was her blood, I wanted to stick around long enough to make sure that it was not merely discorporeal for the first outing, but that there were
Yeah.
no further attacks.
We spend some time with the railroad, uh trying to keep them up into good spirits. And yes, wait for a week to see if we were successful.
And for that matter, Valentina, we should probably make sure that they're all at rest.
Yeah, look up
Yeah.
the last three missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Send
they
them on
would
their
give
way.
you the same, pretty much the same story that you got from Hans, is that
What we expected.
yeah, it's basically that each point along the route they heard a child calling, and then they eventually realized, oh, it keeps calm if I head south. It then got heavier and heavier and splat. So
We'll assure them that we've stopped the entity and, it won't happen again anymore.
no, and they are dutifully and welcomely put to rest. Right? And in which case, yeah, Marie goes on to live her life, but she has to bear that weight and shame on her shoulders anyway, but is grateful for the fact that you saw it from her perspective. And the rest of the railroad, nothing happens over the course of the next week. The myling does not come back. It has been successfully banished physically with a whole load of dynamite, and also its remains left in the one little piece of sacred ground nearby. And yep, the railroad continues plowing further and further north. You are thanked very generously by Clarita, the forewoman, who is grateful that you took the time to come out here and solve their problems. She sees you as a beacon of hope shining out there in the dark for everybody. That say it's good that people still know the old ways and that you are able to take a stand against them. And while the authorities in Venice aren't exactly so welcoming of the supernatural, because as far as they're concerned, it was a bear, honest God.
Yeah.
But they even still they're recognised for your help in bringing the guilty to justice, of which with your explanation of what's happened, both the journalist and your socialist agitator get very little, much more than a fine in that respect. That they're really a very light slap on the wrist, because the only person that got majorly hurt was Ingvar with the spike through his shoulder. So they're going to wipe it off to property damage, which they will be sent to well, particularly the socialist agitator Camilla. She will be sent to the equivalent of work camp to be able to work off doing chain gang style work. Whereas your Dagny, your journalist, is going to go out there. Maybe might have to find work with another paper because her local one are going to be a bit peeved off with what she did, potentially landing them in a lot of hot water. But to wind forward a couple of years as the nice cherry on top of this whole situation, once the famine does eventually come to an end, once the seasons, the weather becomes better, the harvest finally returns, and the food problem becomes a problem of the past. There is a bit of reform that takes place. It's actually 3 years afterwards. The Poor Care Regulation Act inspires a more strict practice of the oh, eventually get my teeth in again. Hi, man. The Poor Care Regulation Act would be inspired by the strict practices of the elite during the famine, overturning the previous iteration of the law, which was seen as far too liberal. So all the action that took place, that they were forcing the poor to work, they were forcing you to say you had to earn the food that you were being given, which was the whole point of why they were effectively used as slave labor to build the railroad. That all these problems that both Dagny and Camilla were trying to raise the public. Evidently, the public, or at least the authorities, were not ever going to be on their side, because they just took this as an excuse to go, you guys that were setting this example by doing this exact same thing, we're now going to make it law. So maybe a slightly sour cherry on top. The end. But otherwise, the last scene, you are chugging back towards your chapter house back down in Uppsala. And that is the end of the scenario.
I don't remember from previous, do we have like rewards or changes or things that we do now?
Yes, there's a series of questions that you go through in the book that say, do you qualify for X, Y, or Z amounts of experience? And then you can cash those in for advances as you progress in play. And likewise, that will count for the castle as well, that you can get some upgrades. We can sort out between games. We don't have to worry too much about airtime on that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish up then. That was great. That was fun. Our players included Thomas Crooms, Max Melter, Julian Arba, David Gasway, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the game master. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page listed in the description, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of Scandinavian mythology and the Vaesen role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.